Look at that fog on it. That's what's name? That's a fog on her camera, man. It's on her camera.
Is it full screen?
It's fog, yeah. It's like kind of fog on it. Yeah, it's full screen. It's just like fog.
Is that better?
Oh, yeah. It was foggy, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Oh, yeah, that's like the real deal. Like the camera like that. Just like your dad. I would never have figured that out. Oh,
You don't have to teach me how to do that on my phone, okay?
Okay.
The next hour, because I didn't bring. Go to the left this way a little bit. No, on the phone. A little bit more. Try to center there. It's not center.
Yeah, let me see.
It's good, Nate. Nate.
Very good
I'm
there.
just checking it.
Center there.
I'm looking right at it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's center.
You gotta zoom out some because my head cut off for the prayer.
Okay.
You missed this, man. Alright.
It's showing here? Or it shows smaller?
I will ask your sisters to cover your head, brothers, and cover your head. We're going to go on face the rules and get ready to open up the question and answer Bible study. Our Father, which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy will be done in earth
thy will be done in earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not into temptation,
Lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
Thine is the kingdom,
Thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, brothers and sisters, we'll go ahead and open up for Q&A. Do we have anything in-house?
Start off with the easy one. How you doing, brother? Can you hear me?
Shut that microphone.
Test.
Okay, thank you.
Happy Sabbath, brother. I just want to start off with a Sabbath day question dealing with kindling a fire. Me and my wife had a little situation this morning where I actually turned the stove on, and she went into me a little bit. So I just wanted to make sure I have a clear understanding. I know Exodus 35:3 speaks about kindling a fire, but just as far as the interpretation of rubbing, I thought rubbing sticks together with it, but I appreciate if you can elaborate on what actually is kindling a fire and how the plan applies to Sabbath.
Okay. Let's go to Exodus. Go to Exodus chapter 20. You see how the Lord, how you separate this day from any other day, and how to keep this day holy.
Amen.
Yeah, Exodus chapter 20. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up at verse 8. Let me get in my brother bag.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. For 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Okay. So he said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And he said, okay, and then he's going to show you how you're going to keep it holy. But at first he said, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all that work. So you got 6 days to do whatever you need to do. And of course, in moderation, as far as work and any, just anything, I guess worldly, going to work and, going to the park or football or whatever. But it says, you got 6 days shalt thou labor and do all that work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. And in it thou shalt not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within that gate. So your household is going to shut it down. Your household. Because it was an issue, I remember something where, you might have people might have things like dealing with like 401k and stuff like that, where you might have things that's going on, but it's out of your control. Right. Dealing with this world, But it says your household is gonna shut it down. Cause I know, like my mom, she's not in the word, but sometimes she'll come spend time with me and my family, and she know once the Sabbath comes, that's it. You turn off TV and you deal with the word of God.
That's right.
And that's what, what it means, what it says, but on the 7th day, the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, thou shalt not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant that works for you, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, within thy household. For in 6 days, heaven and the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all them that is, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and he hallowed it, he sanctified, he set it apart. So let's go to Leviticus, not Leviticus, Exodus, what about the is that Exodus 35? We're talking about laying up the food.
That's 35 is in. What's It might be 17. Exodus 16.
Yeah.
Exodus 16.
Okay, let's go to Exodus 16. We're gonna see how you prepare for the Sabbath. We're gonna pick this up at 22. Exodus 16 and 22. When you get it, my brother, go ahead.
And it came to pass that on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for 1 man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye shall bake today, sieve that ye will sieve, and that which remain over lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Right, so in 22 it says, and it came to pass, it says that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for 1 man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. So this is what you're going to do on the 6th day. You're going to grab twice as much.
That's right.
Because you're going to need it for the next day. Because the Lord told you not to do any more work, right?
That's right.
So he said in verse 23, and he said unto them, This is that which the Lord has said, tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. It's talking about the Sabbath. Bake that which you will bake today, and see that ye will see. In other words, boil. Bake what you're going to bake, and boil what you're going to boil. And that which remaineth, it says, overlay for you. Remain over, lay up for you to be kept until tomorrow. So you're going to save it for the next day. Verse 24.
And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade,
Uh-huh.
and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein.
Right, and that's absolutely true. Because me and my wife, we done left food overnight. Just let it sit, give me some rice, chicken, or whatever's the case, and you just let it sit overnight. We be eating it for breakfast. And you know, and believe it or not, and the Lord is so crafty with the way how He works. Like it's times when it could be beautiful outside, and then we'll use the sun as a source of heat. We'll leave food in the car and let it heat up, and it will actually heat up. So by the time class is done with, you up in your head, like, where y'all get that hot chicken from? I use the microwave? Nah. We use the Lord creation. You put that sun out there and we use it, the resources. So there's ways you can, that you can get around it without having to actually use a stove or a microwave. You know what I'm saying? There's ways to do that. You can make you some cereal, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just want to add something because I kind of asked the question a little bit out of context. I actually lit a candle, a scented candle this morning. So it wasn't so much preparing food. It was just, I wanted to smell the scented candle. And I lit the stove, lit the candle, and I forgot and left the stove on. That was where she got me. But part of her argument was, you ain't supposed to be lighting the stove no way on Saturday.
That is, yeah. That is true. But if you was did that, if this was like before the Sabbath, you just so happened to let that candle just run.
Gotcha.
It would have been nothing because you didn't light it on the Sabbath. It was already lit.
Okay.
But read 24. Read that on from the top again, brother.
And they laid it up to the morning, as
Uh-huh.
Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein.
Verse 25.
And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field.
Right, you ain't gonna find this in the field because you're supposed to already have it.
That's right.
Verse 26.
6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none.
And you're gonna have some hard-headed Hebrews out there that went out there trying to find something. They said they found none. Verse 28.
And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he give you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in this place, let no man go out of his place on the seventh day.
Right, so it says, see, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore he given you on the sixth day to bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the seventh day. Why? This is to the Lord this day right here. This ain't about us. You know, the beautiful thing that's for us is that we get to congregate together. We get to do this together, but don't lose track. This is for the Lord. This ain't got nothing to do with us. Except for the end, doing that, 1,000 years of peace. But that ain't to the end. So right now, it's just we doing what thus said the Lord. Let's go to let's check out what's that Numbers. Numbers 15. Numbers 15, and we're gonna pick this up at verse 32. Numbers 15 and 32. When you get it, my brother, go ahead.
And while the children of Israel went in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
Right, so we don't really know what he was gathering sticks for. They just know he was gathering sticks on the Sabbath. It could be to kindle a fire. It could be for a number of things.
That's right.
He can be patching up something at his house. He was working. That's the point. He was working. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. Verse 33.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done to him. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Right, this is the Lord talking to Moses, saying the man shall surely be put to death. Go ahead.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses.
Right, so us that know better. Oh man, like we ain't dying off right now, But like I said, for those who know better, and y'all, we out here just breaking the Sabbath and working and doing what we want to do on the Sabbath, and come to church when we want to come to church. Like the Lord gonna have something for us.
That's right.
Because this is a good example right here. You doing work on the Sabbath. Back then, we was, everybody want to talk about Bible days. We was in them days. We was trying to find a lamb without blemish.
That's right.
Or it's gonna be us. Let's go on that. Isaiah 56. 58. Go to Isaiah 58.
That's good. Yeah, that answer. I just got a comment on it. I have two examples. One example, Brother Jediah, you might not know him, but Jediah smoked Black and Miles. I'm sure all y'all seen him. That brother, he would smoke Black and Miles. But one thing he wouldn't do, cause what we just read about in Numbers, right? We don't know if it was for cooking. It probably was for cooking though. It's a high probability it was for cooking, but we can't read that. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
And that's where, since we can't read that, I just noticed what Jediah did. He just played it safe. He wouldn't light up no cigar on the Sabbath.
Amen.
He waited till the sun go down. When the sun go down, y'all see him outside be smoking the black, chilling and talking, but he would not do it. Now some people do it. Some people go smoke a cigarette, and that's up to them, but I personally ain't gonna do it. Now, they got those scented, they got those little bowls you can put your potpourri in or whatever. You just plug it in and turn it on. You ain't gotta light it or nothing. Like you just turn it on and just melt, you know what I'm saying? So they have those things right there that can substitute, you know what I'm saying? Just to be safe. Like I say, even though we know it, we can't read it, let's stick to the side of being safe to protect ourselves so we don't I like to say, don't wake the sleeping dragon up. If the Lord is asleep, you know how they say, don't wake up the dragon, leave him alone.
That's right.
Leave him alone. Well, if the Lord ain't, if he don't got nobody, no angels reporting and telling on you, don't give him nothing telling you about. You know what I'm saying? Let the Lord let him always look at you and be like, oh, he's doing good. I'm proud of him. As opposed to, I don't know if I can light a candle. Well, let me just do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? And the angels probably gonna tell. So,
They will.
yeah, right, it's wrong. They probably gonna tell us.
I don't know.
So we may just put the plug in on the Sabbath or whatever and just let those things run. But I think we be so busy and we forget. But those are just two examples I saw where you don't have to do no work. You know what I'm saying? There's a little switch you go and roll it and it come right on. You know what I'm saying? And then the example with Brother Jediah I was telling you about, like I just know, just being in the position he is as far as teaching is concerned, just not to give anybody no room to say anything. He just won't light a light at all. Like we know kindling the fire, back then it took more than just light a cigarette. Light a lighter, that's easy. That's not kindling. What I'm saying? They had different ways they had to go through to actually light that fire. So nowadays it's a lot easier. You ain't got to do this, just light it. But just for the sake of not being a stumbling block,
Right.
or even putting yourself in jeopardy with God, I just saw the brother just wait till sundown, so I would just do the same thing.
Amen.
So,
Very good.
all right, anybody else?
I think you got another one, you got two. You said the easy one first and then.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to take up all the questions. I'll wait to come chime back in a minute.
Appreciate that.
Anybody in house? And after that, we'll go online. We'll go 2 online, 2 in house, 2 online.
I was wondering if you could.
You can pull it up. You pull it up.
I might have turned it off too. I might put it on off position.
Yeah, something off with it. I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on the first element and just for my clearer understanding.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. We're gonna pick this up at verse 9.
Screaming is my light's about to go out. And that's why I got like a tent to it.
Yeah, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 9. 9 and 10. When you get it, my brother, go ahead.
And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place,
Right.
and let the dry land appear. And it was so.
Right, and you got to keep in mind when he made this firmament, he put the waters to divide the firmament. And we got this firmament, this water that's sitting on top of the firmament. It said, and God said, let the waters, then you got under the heavens, be gathered together into one place. And let the dry land appear, and it was so. Verse 10.
And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good.
Right, so he said, God called the dry land earth, and gathered together the waters, called he seas, and God saw that it was good. Let's go to and this is what we come to know to be as earth. Let's go to Matthew 24. Because right after the Great Tribulation, the Lord got to come gather his people. Matthew 24, and pick this up at verse 29.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days,
Uh-huh.
shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
And what's going to happen? Verse 31.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
Oh, so he gonna gather. It says he gonna gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And we still talk about this. We still talk about earth here, but he's calling it heaven. Let's look at one more. Let's go and let's confirm that he's actually talking about heaven. Let's go to Isaiah 43. As he said, and they should gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Let's see if he's actually talking about earth. Or is he talking about we gonna be up there in the cloud and he gonna gather us from there? Let's see if Isaiah is talking about the same thing. Isaiah 43. We're going to pick this up at verse 1 through 6.
Trying to get y'all quiz so we can get it right quick for the day. For y'all leave. For I am the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for thee.
Right, well, what he did with Egypt, he pretty much killed him. Verse 4.
Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore will I give men for thee and people for thy life. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west.
Right, because we were scattered all over. Remember in Matthew 24, when he said he gonna what? He gonna gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. So he said, fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and bring thee from the west. Verse 6.
I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth.
From the ends of what?
The earth.
From the ends of the earth. So in Matthew 24, he was likening this earth into heaven. When he said, I'm going to gather my elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. But right here in Isaiah, he's talking about what? It says, keep not back, but bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the what? Ends of the earth.
That's right.
So they're going to witness right there.
Just put this in the notes and we'll go look at this. Deuteronomy 30 now also.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 30.
He gonna say it. He gonna say it again. I didn't put it in the class, so that's why I said just put it on your notes. I don't know why I put this in the class.
Deuteronomy 30.
It's actually
You told my verse 3.
no, it's 4.
Okay, right.
Okay, start at verse.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't know why I didn't put it in. I thought I had it in, but it isn't.
Yeah, he started at verse 1. We're going to start, we got Deuteronomy chapter 30. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. And get it, my brother, go ahead.
And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee.
Right, and we doing that to this day. We calling everything to mind. We're like, oh man, look at all these curses, but at the same time, we had some blessings at the same time. You know, we had great kings, King David, King Solomon, one of the wisest men in the world. But it said, and it should come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. Because that's what we're doing. We still among all the nations. Whether the Lord thy God have driven thee, the Lord did this to us. Verse 2.
And shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
Right, so once we start returning back to the Lord and doing what he said, we're going to teach what? We're going to teach our children.
That's right.
With all our heart and with all our soul. Verse 3.
That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee.
Right, it says that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee. And he's having compassion upon us. Because there's some people, they have it way worse than what we had that's going through it. We still going through it, but it's not that bad because we turn back to the Lord. And it says, will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. Verse 4.
If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven.
Oh, Jesus said the same thing pretty much in Matthew 24. He said, if any of thine be driven, in other words, if any of mine be driven out into the outmost parts of heaven. Go ahead, brother.
From thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee.
Oh, so he gonna gather us. The same thing what he said what he gonna do in Matthew 24. Gather us, his elect, from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. Isaiah, he said, gather us from the parts of the earth. And then here in Deuteronomy, he's saying again, through the mouth of Moses, if any of thine be driven out into the outermost parts of heaven. Still talking about the earth here. From thence will the Lord thy God gather thee. From thence will he fetch thee. And he gonna bring us into this land that he gave our fathers. So, dealing with that first heaven, which is the earth, I hope that helped out a little bit. Praise the Lord.
Oh yeah, that's what it's about, man. So we got a question online. It says, Happy Sabbath. There are a lot of people into Egyptology, and I'm not familiar with it. Can you please give me some scriptures in the Bible to back me up? Could you be more specific?
Yeah, because I'm not that knowledgeable in Egyptology myself.
Sister Susan, are you looking for something to confirm what we believe as far as scripture is concerned? Just let me know, and we'll get back to you. So that was the only thing online right now. Anything else in the house? I think she needs like something else. Okay, something to help back her up.
I was wondering, so if the first heaven is on earth, can you explain like hell, where that is, and the lake of fire and all that?
All right, the lake of fire was created for Satan and his angels. Let's look at that. Let's go to Revelation. Revelation chapter 20. Revelation, we're going to pick this up at Revelation chapter 20 and verse 1. When you get it, my brother Daddy.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Right, so this is when, right before the Lord comes, you got to bound this, you got to bound the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. You got to bound him for 1,000 years. Verse 3.
and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season.
Right. So this bottomless pit, this is not the lake of fire. It's just what it is. It's a bottomless pit, and you're gonna put him in there. You're gonna set a seal on him for 1,000 years. Jump down to verse 7.
And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison.
Oh, so when this 1,000 years is expired, he's gonna be loose. Verse 8.
And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle.
Right, Gog and Magog. This is the army that the Lord is going to use to defeat. What is it? The European army. But it says here, and he should go out and deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. Gog and Magog, he's going to deceive them, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Verse 9.
And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven, and devoured them.
Right, it says, and they went out from the breadth of the earth. That's to let you know that we ain't going to heaven. Because they was here, right here on the earth. Just they went out on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, which is Jerusalem. And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. Verse 10.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Right, so this is the place that you don't want to be at. There's no pause here. It's what it is. It says, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Like, there's no pause, there's no stop. This is just gonna be their life. Where's that scripture where you gonna be
What's that?
standing over?
Standing over what?
Standing over looking at
Isaiah 66.
Isaiah 66.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest.
Oh yeah, we got it. When we open it up for comment, then you can respond.
Let's go to Isaiah 66.
I'm gonna help him out. Thank you, brother. Isaiah 66. It's 23. Well, 23 and 24.
Yeah, let's pick this up at
No, I'm not.
okay. Let's
I got
pick
3
this.
Bibles. I'm there.
Let's up at verse 22.
For as the new heavens and the new earth which I shall make shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord.
Right.
And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorrent unto all flesh.
Wow. It says, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For it says, for their worm shall not die. That's how, because this is going to be burning everlasting. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched. Because this, like you said, this fire is going to be burning day and night. You're going to be tormented forever and ever. It says, neither shall there be, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be any abhorring unto all flesh. So this lake of fire, that's a whole nother level right there. A whole nother round. Dealing with, and that's, and that's the Lord. That's all by the hand of the Lord.
All right, so let's go look at I think the question is more toward where is it at?
Yeah, and
Right.
when the Bible talks about hell, like what does it mean if the lake of fire is not here yet? Like
Right.
when they say going in.
Right. So the brother's question is for those online. So when the Bible is talking about hell, what is it talking about? All right. So that's what we're gonna look at, because you got hell and you got hell. You know, lake of fire, hell, right? But if we let you know that when you die, you don't go to heaven, right? You know, you go to the grave, then where's hell at? Like, where's the lake of fire and when is it gonna come? All right. But now let's go look at let's go to Revelation chapter 12. We're gonna look at something. Revelation 12. And we're gonna look at pick it up at verse 7. Revelation 12 and verse 7. All right, pick that up for me, brother, please. Uh-huh.
And there was war in heaven.
Uh-huh.
Michael and his angel fought against the dragon.
Uh-huh.
And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan.
All right, so Satan got cast out, right? Satan got cast out. What else happened? Go ahead.
Which deceived the whole world.
Uh-huh. Keep reading.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him.
All right, so where did Satan got cast out to, brother? He was cast out to the earth, right? All right, so now go over to 2 Peter chapter 2. And let's pick this up at verse 3.
And through covetousness,
Hold on, let me get there. Through covetousness, what else?
shall they with vain words have merchandise of you,
Uh-huh.
whose judgment now of the long time lingereth not.
Right, so just talking about false prophets. You know, even though they're getting away with it right now, they're gonna have to pay. You know, it may seem like you know, the Lord ain't gonna deal with them, but He gonna deal with them. It's just a matter of time. Just like somebody else He gonna compare it to. What it say, brother?
And their damnation slumbereth not.
Uh-huh.
For if God spared not the angels,
Notice
that
what He
sinned,
say though. He say, if God spared not the angels that sinned, but did what?
but cast them down to hell.
Wait a minute. I thought He cast them down to the earth. Right? He said what? He spared not the angels that sinned and cast them down to hell, right? So hell in itself is also, earth in itself is hell. Anything outside of paradise where the Lord resides, you know that got to be hell. That's why we got all this killing going on and murder, you know, all the stuff that come with it. That's why I tell you when the Lord come back, hey, death and hell going to be cast into the lake of fire. I tell you, matter of fact, go look at Revelation 21. We'll 20, and we'll look at that. So you got 3 different types of hell, as a matter of fact. And we're gonna look at both of them. Then we're gonna look at the one that we are concerned about today, pertaining to your question. Revelation chapter 20. But notice what he said though, right? He said he cast them down to hell. All right, Revelation 21. Revelation 21. Revelation 20. Revelation 20, and pick it up at verse 13. Now this is after when the Lord get back, we get ready to go into judgment day. All right. As we get ready to go into judgment day, notice what once we get to judgment day, notice what's gonna happen to the people who gonna hit the lake of fire. Go and read that, brother.
And the sea gave up the dead which were in it.
Uh-huh.
And death and hell deliver up the dead which were in them.
Mm-hmm.
And they will judge every man according to their works.
That's right, because this judgment day, this is a great white throne judgment. Go ahead and read.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire.
Oh, so notice what it say. He say, death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. You see? So at this point, now, if if it's saying death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, that lets you know this hell, we must be talking about something else. You see what I'm saying? So whatever is compassed in this word hell, whether it be sickness, whether it be death, whether it be killing, whether it be people that's gonna hit the lake of fire, all this is going to the lake of fire. In other words, we ain't gonna experience this in the kingdom. It ain't gonna be no hell, ain't gonna be no death going on. All this stuff is going to the lake of fire. That's why in Matthew 5, Matthew 17, I think. Was it Matthew 5 and 17? Where he said, think not I'm coming to destroy the law?
5:17.
Yeah, Matthew 5 and 17, where he said, if you teach one of these least commandments, you're going to be the least in the kingdom. The reason why he say you're going to be the least in the kingdom, because the lake of fire going to be in the kingdom. Like it's going to be here. Go to Isaiah 31. The lake of fire going to be in the kingdom. That's why he read Isaiah 66, where every year during the Feast of Tabernacles, they're going to go up and look over inside the lake of fire and see the ones that transgress against the Lord. You see? But it's going to be in the kingdom, so you don't want to be the least in the kingdom because you're going to be in that fire. Isaiah 31, pick it up at verse 9. Isaiah 31. And pick it up at start at verse 8. Now you start at 7. All right, go ahead.
For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver.
This when the Lord come back. All your idols of silver and stuff ain't gonna do you no good at this time. But go ahead.
And his idols of gold, which your own hands have made into you for a sin. Then shall the Assyrians fall with the sword, not all a mighty man, and a sword, not of a mean man.
Right, so it ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be of like your regular military army and stuff like that. He say this Assyrian, he gonna fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, though, not from your normal type of war. All right, and he said what? And the sword, not of a mean man, shall devour him, but what?
Shall devour him, but he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited.
That's right, because it's the Lord the one that's bringing this destruction. Go ahead and read.
And he shall pass over to his stronghold for fear, and his princes shall be afraid of the ensign, saith the Lord.
That's right, they're going to be afraid of the ensign, saith the Lord. The ensign is something that represents you. All right, so he said they're going to be afraid of the ensign, saith the Lord, who's what?
Whose fire is in Zion.
Wait a minute, his fire going to be where?
In Zion.
In Zion, keep reading.
And his furnace in Jerusalem.
Oh, the lake of fire going to be in Jerusalem.
Oh, no.
But it ain't here right now, though. You understand? It's coming when the Lord get back. That's why we tell you, ain't nobody there right now. It don't even exist yet. It's going to exist when the Lord get back. That's why I'm telling you what. His fire going to be in Zion. His furnace going to be in Jerusalem. So we saw in Isaiah 66, hey, every year they're going to be going up, looking over, right inside there, they're going to see the beast and the false prophet sitting right in the lake of fire, burning for 1,000 years. Satan ain't even going to hit the lake of fire when the Lord get back. He going to be locked away into the bottomless pit. In other words, he won't be able to run freely around and influence anybody no more. You know, now he ain't going to be in no pit. The Lord just going to lock him up to the point where he don't have no influence at all. All right? But going to Matthew 25. Matthew 25. And pick it up at verse 40. Because, this is something just to also show that, it ain't, Satan don't have no reign in the lake of fire. That's not a place for him to go and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, you got kicked out of the kingdom. You got kicked out of heaven. So we going to make a place down for you down in the lake of fire so you can just, judge people that do bad all their life. When they get here, you just got a pitchfork and you stabbing them all and you burning them, making sure they continue to stay burnt. No, that God didn't give him that power. The lake of fire is actually for him, but he hadn't brought that into play yet. It's coming though. Matthew 25, pick this up at verse 39. All right, go ahead, brother.
Or when saw we the sick or in prison and came into thee, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, and as much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done unto me.
Mm-hmm.
Then shall he say also unto them.
Right, so he giving a parable. You helped out other people, you know, you helped me out. Went to visit the sick, went out to the prison to see those in prison. Hey, that you came to visit me. All right? So you going to get into the kingdom. But if you don't help the poor, you don't help the sick, you don't go visit the, you know, the one in prison, you think you're just doing it to them, but it's me you actually, the Lord talking about himself, that you doing it to. So he said, well, when did we see you sick or in prison and came unto thee? Go ahead and read.
Then shall he say unto them on the left hand.
Now, well, he's talking to the righteous right now. The righteous, he talking to them, they going to get into the kingdom. He said, the king shall say unto them what?
Oh, and the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, and as much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done unto me.
Right, so if you do good, hey, you actually doing this to God. That's why you got to be careful about the poor, because the Bible tell you that when you lend to the poor, you lend to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't so much about you trying to give them a job application, you know, just to get a few dollars out your hand. Like, what you going to do with it? Where you from? Who your mom is? Who your daddy? Yeah, can you just help the brother out, man? Let me go. Them Sunday churches want to teach us that nonsense. You know, you don't want us to help out the poor, but you want us to give you your money. Then we question you, where's our money going? You know what I'm saying? Then you want to tell us we wrong. That's the person you need to be questioning. Why is it that I'm giving you my money and this doggone building fund ain't got us a church built yet?
Wow.
50 years.
Instead of me, right, 50 years. Instead of me asking the poor about his life, he evidently must be a problem out here begging. That's stressful in itself.
Yeah. That's hell.
All day long. He said, when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. Read that 41, brother.
Then shall he say then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, unto everlasting fire.
Now notice what he say. He said he's going to say to those on the left, depart from me into what type of fire?
Everlasting fire.
Now we saw in Isaiah that it was a fire that was never going to be quenched, right? It's everlasting. Don't let nobody tell you he's going to burn you up and it's over with. No. It wouldn't make no sense for him to say everlasting, because you're going to be in there burning forever. That's how you punish an immortal. That's how you punish Satan. What does it say though? What is end of that?
Prepared for the devil and his angels.
See? Because they don't die. So the Lord got another punishment for them. He going to put them in the lake of fire and burn them forever. That's what he going to do to those immortals. And guess what? Satan trying to get you on the team. So he say, depart from me, ye cursed, in the everlasting fire, prepare for the devil and his angels. So Satan is on the earth right now. He's not in the lake of fire, burning, ain't burning nobody. He just walking to and fro on the earth right now. You know? But now go look at Isaiah chapter 5, and then we'll hit that question online. Isaiah 5, just show you another example of hell right quick. Isaiah 5. Yep, Isaiah 5. Pick it up at 13 for me. He's talking about Israel disobeyed God, but notice what he said about it. Therefore what?
Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge.
Not because they can't shout good. You say because they have no knowledge. And see, you go to Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, it lets you know the knowledge that they don't have. He said they rejected the knowledge, talking about, because you rejected my law, I will reject your children. But this the knowledge that we lacking right here. That's why we can't afford to be like all other nations. Listen, we need the law. You know, us without the law is like a fish without water. He said, therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. What else?
And their honorable men are famished. And their multitude dried up with thirst.
That's right. So your honorable men, you go to get some understanding from them. They don't got nothing. They famished too. They're not eating nothing or drinking nothing. Then he say what? The honorable men are famished. This is why Jesse Jackson can't teach you nothing. I heard, oh boy, what's that dude's name from Atlanta? The one that's still alive, the bald-headed short guy. They used to roll with Martin Luther King back in the day. He lived here. Not Abernathy, the other guy. John something? John Lewis. He was on 1380 a while back after all the shooting was going on a couple years ago. and they asked him. Some woman on the show said she was talking to John Lewis. She said, I asked him. I think it was Rashad Rich or something like that. She said, I asked him, you know, why does this keep happening to us? You know what he said? He said, I don't know. I know though. Yeah. We know, right? Yeah. Yes. But these supposed to be an honorable men. John Lewis, he was with Martin Luther King back in the day. He said he don't know. He said, I have no answer for you. That's exactly what he said. I have no answer for you. But the Bible even telling you that. He said what? Their honorable men are famished. And their multitude dried up with thirst. So if the preachers are famished, if the leaders, shut that door, the leaders are famished, then what you think gonna happen to the multitude of the people? They're gonna be dried up for thirst. But what's going on? Verse 14.
Therefore hell had enlarged herself.
Now we're not talking about the lake of fire. He said, therefore hell have enlarged herself. In other words, this condition, this destruction, you know, like we used to being on God's side. We should, you know, us being the Israelites or the children of God, we should be experiencing nothing but prosperity. But because since we disobeyed God, what did he say? He said, therefore hell have enlarged herself. So no matter what, no matter where you turn, no matter where you go, you can move from the SWAT and try to move over to Buckhead. Guess what? Hell is on its way. Because he said what? Therefore hell have enlarged herself. Keep reading, brother.
And open her mouth without measure.
Go ahead.
And their glory, and their multitude, and their pomp. And he that rejoiced shall descend into
Right, so talking about just descending to hell. Talking about our condition as a people. But you see, even with, you know, hell can be the grave. Matter of fact, go to Acts chapter 2. Hell can be the grave. Hell can be a condition. You know, like we like to say, it's hell when you ain't got no money to feed your children. That's hell.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's hell when you struggling, going to work. Yeah. You know, I talk to some people working all their life, 12, 14, 15 hours a day and still struggling. That's hell.
That's right.
You know. But Acts chapter 2, but just showing you got hell being the grave also, hell being the condition. And hell also, what we like to call the lake of fire. That's the ultimate one that's going to happen at the end. But hell, Acts chapter 2, and pick it up at verse 26. We saw this today, right? We came earlier today talking about Jesus, how he died, but he had to get up from the grave. He couldn't stay there forever, but notice what it's saying about him not seeing corruption. Read verse 26, brother.
Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover, also my flesh shall rest in hope.
Keep reading.
Because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell.
Wait a minute. He said, because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell. We just talking about the grave. You see? This is what David was prophesying about Jesus when he came. He said, my flesh going to rest in hope because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell. Go ahead.
Neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption.
Skip down to verse 30 and read that.
Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God has sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he will rise up Christ to sit on his throne.
Right, he will raise up Christ to sit on his throne. He's not going to allow his soul, he's not going to leave his soul in hell. What does he mean? What is he talking about when he say leave his soul in hell? Talking about his body. You are the soul. That's why I tell you in Genesis, you know, Lord breathed into man's nostril the breath of life, and man became a living soul. All right? So with Jesus here, David was prophesying how he wasn't going to allow his soul to stay in hell. Then it says, therefore, being a prophet, talking about David, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would do what?
He will raise up Christ to sit on his throne.
Keep reading.
He's seeing this before spake of the resurrection of Christ.
Oh, see, notice what he said. He said he's seeing this before, or he prophesied about this long time ago. He's seeing this before spake, talking about David, spake about or of the resurrection of Christ, that what?
That his soul was not left in hell.
Oh, okay, so his soul wasn't left in the grave. You see, but it's just interchanged, right? Grave and hell. So hopefully that helps out, brother. Praise the Lord. Let's see here. Did we do something? Well, we went until she had justified, clarified the question. All right, so let's see here. When I minister to someone, I need to have some understanding what I'm talking about. Yep. Now, her original question, what's up, Brother Brooks and Sister Brooks? I said, happy Sabbath. There are a lot of people into Egyptology, and I'm not familiar with it. Can you please give me some scriptures in the Bible to back me up? When I minister to someone, I need to have some understanding what I'm talking about. Also, Deuteronomy 4:28, the wood and stone, does that mean the cross for Christian and the cobblestone for Islam? I'm just asking. All right, so let's deal with that. So you ain't gonna find nobody Egyptology in here. You can find where the Lord didn't want you dealing with that Egyptology. You understand? I mean, one of the first places is what?
That's another other God before me.
Who?
That's another other God before me.
Boom, the commandments, Exodus 20. That's the first place right there, because he told you what? I'm the Lord that God that brought you out of Egypt. In other words, he said, don't have no other, so leave all that stuff in Egypt. That's right. So, yeah, so, what you saying? What's in Ecclesiastes 12? Nah, because the question wasn't really about books. It was about doctrine. It's about other gods. You know what I'm saying? That's what Egyptology brings, other gods. So you would have to answer it based on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does God feel about it? You know, I'm going to show you something. This, let me show you something. You can read that, though. I mean, I'll read that for you right quick. You must have quit.
That's right.
You must have quit. Let's see here. Well, it ain't what she learning. It's what she's trying to. She believe in what the Bible say, but how can she defend herself? If somebody's coming to her, Egyptology this, and then they say all this stuff about, like they say that the virgin birth, they happened before. Happened in Egypt first. You know what I'm saying? Egyptology, they say things like you can talk to your dead loved ones and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you somebody new coming up in the word, and how could you combat that? That's really the question. That's why she say, so when she minister, she need to know what she's talking about. So how would you deal with that?
Nimrod, Genesis, that he started worshiping the sun.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 31. Let me show you something. Because this is really what happens. We as a people, we want to be connected to somebody. Like we got a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge, right? But we want to be somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, based on the world and how we live right now, we nothing, right? We don't got no land. We don't got no God. All these other gods we have attached ourselves to, right? But God knew this was gonna happen. But regardless, you know, he still ain't pleased with it though. Isaiah 31, And pick this up in verse 1.
Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help.
Now notice what he's saying. He say, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Because that's really, like I said, we trying to grab onto something. Now, we ain't going over there for help physically right now because they ain't going to help us over there anyway. Don't nobody like this. All right? But spiritually, like that movie just came out, like that ain't got nothing to do with us. We are, bruh. First off, we Israelites. We're not Egyptians, okay? But on top of that, that's a fairy tale. You know what I'm saying? So just to even, you know, just the thought of us wearing dashikis to a movie, it's ignorant, man. You know what I'm saying? But we want to grab onto something. You know, so since we don't know who we are as a people, what we grab onto? We just grab onto Egypt. As opposed to grabbing onto our God. So he say, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. What else?
And stay on horses. And trust in chariots. Because they are many.
But see, we had even our people was doing that. He said what? Because and stay on horses and trust in chariots. Because they got the big military and all that type of stuff. And, you know, Egypt was a prosperous nation at that time. We came out. Hey, listen, it was prosperous because of free labor. Like, we built Pithom and Ramses and all the treasure cities. Just like America is prosperous, most of the world is prosperous. Why? Because of free labor. But we don't understand that. We just look at it as if, like, you know, we want to reach for the American dream. We want to be a part of the American dream. It's just a dream, sisters and brothers. I just want you to understand, it's just a dream. Like, it was never set up for Israel to prosper off of it. God sent us over here because we disobeyed him. Our help is not in going back to Egypt. Our help is turning back to God, the one who put us in this predicament in the first place. So he says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many and what?
And in horsemen. Because they are very strong.
All right, because they very strong. So we feel like, hey, that's going to be, you know, that's for us. That'll benefit us. That'll help us. But what did he say?
But they look not into the Holy One of Israel.
And that's going on today. That's why people always want to grab on the other stuff, but you telling you Israel, and they got a problem with that. They got a problem with you telling them who they are as a people. You know what I'm saying? All they can say is we come from the motherland, Africa. Y'all do know that's a really big continent, right? And it has a lot of different countries or different, like if we went back right now, where would you go? Like somebody help me out. Because if you drop me off in Africa right now, I'm going to be like, take me back to America. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know nobody over there. I'm sure some Israelites, they probably catching hell worse than we are. But we want to go over there because we really ain't over there. What the white man or Trump just came and said, you know what? Y'all want to go to Africa? We finna send y'all back. Man, we get there, we really gonna catch it. We really don't know what we be asking for. He said, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. What else?
Yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity.
Right, he said, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words. It's going to happen. Regardless of wherever you go, God got these curses coming on us. We be trying to attach, hold on one second, brother. We be trying to attach ourselves to all these other nations. Listen, we Israelites. What's wrong with that? I am happy to be an Israelite. People be making issues about the word, don't be saying you proud. God is against pride. Okay, I'm going to say I'm happy to be an Israelite then. All right? I'm very happy to be an Israelite. I'm happy to actually be on this earth for 43 years without dying, knowing that, without being dead, you know, living to be able to find out the truth before my breath is out. I'm proud, okay, I'm happy to be a Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that. I don't want to be no Egyptian. Listen, I didn't even feel comfortable when I would wear those medallions on my neck with the red, green, and black, I think, or yellow. Yeah, I had the black medallion with the red, green, and yellow. I didn't feel no connection. I felt a connection to the Bible, though. I'm going to tell you that. Now, I did feel a connection to the Bible as a little kid. I don't care what I did when I got old. I don't care what type of trouble I got into, what career path as far as hustling was concerned. I still felt connected to this book, not Africa. Now, I understand why, though. You did? Yeah, they lost too. All of us did. All of us did. But he said, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and would not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. So, hey, you come over here, you try to get set free. The Lord say he's going to get those that help you. We tried. That's why nobody be like, you know what? That's the problem y'all got going on. That between you and God, we ain't helping y'all. We gonna stay out of this. He say what? And he gonna arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them or from them that work iniquity. Read verse 3.
Now the Egyptians are men.
So keep that in mind. I know brothers want to say we Egyptology. That's been going around for a while. You know. He said now the Egyptians are men. You know what the Bible tells you in Jeremiah 17 about that, right? Woe to them that put their trust in men and make it flesh his own. It'll fail you every time. He said now the Egyptians are men and what?
And not God.
Uh-huh.
And their horse is flesh, and not spirit.
Right, so you can't beat that. God is the spirit. How you gonna whoop him? Like God, you seen what he did in Egypt? He can't listen. For Sister Susan, just remind them of what our God did when he came through Egypt. Where were they gods at that time? Where was Egyptology at that time when the Lord came through and smote their firstborn during the night of the Passover? You know what I'm saying? When the Lord opened up that Red Sea, where was Egyptology at that time? If it's so much better than us, or it's so good, why couldn't it save them? So he said, now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horse is flesh, and not spirit, what?
When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helped shall fall.
Right, I'd rather deal with the God of Israel, because ain't nobody getting away with it. He say both. He say when the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helped shall fall, and what else?
And he that is hoping shall fall down.
And even if you got some help, you still gonna fall down. Go ahead.
And they all shall fail together.
Right, so hey, this is why you know, this is something you might want to use, but also, like I said, let's go look at that Deuteronomy right quick. There's some other places too. It might be Jeremiah. And Nemo, while we're looking at that, what were you saying about the Nimrod brother?
Oh,
He started it.
the worshiping of the sun.
He sure did.
Everything started with him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Brother Nemo was saying, how all the worship started with Nimrod. You know, the sun worship, Easter, even the Tammuz and Semiramis. Matter of fact, we're going to look at the Tammuz because the Lord hate that. Ezekiel 8, after we leave this right here. Ezekiel chapter 8, we'll look at that. Because it ain't nothing new. They've been doing this and God been against it though.
Yes, Genesis 11.
Genesis 11?
Yes.
All right, okay.
About the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 4 and 28. Deuteronomy 4 and 28. Shafiq, you want to have a comment right quick?
Yeah.
Come on.
Just commenting when I go to Exodus chapter. When I go to Exodus chapter 12, just read one verse.
What you got?
12 and 12. Want me to read it or?
I'll read it for you. Let me get this.
It was just definitely very relevant
Relevant.
to the whole Egyptology.
For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord.
Said against all the gods of Egypt.
Right. Praise the Lord. All right, so the Deuteronomy 4:28. Thank you, brother. Deuteronomy 4:28. Go ahead. I'm gonna read that for you. Okay, well, 27. Let me read 27. You just kind of touch on it. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. And you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell.
Wow. And that's pretty, and that's pretty much where how we disobey the Lord. He said He's gonna scatter us among the nations. And we shall be left few in numbers among the heathen, where the Lord shall lead you. Just letting you know the Lord is doing this. And there shall, and it says, and there ye shall serve gods, the work of man's hand, wood and stone, letting you know that this stuff was created. It wasn't something that He gave us to do. It said the work man's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. They do nothing. They like that Christmas tree. Like people sit in their house. They don't do nothing unless you do something to it. You the one that got to decorate it and make it look nice and put lights on it and let people from the outside be like, ooh, look what they got inside their house. But that's by your doing. It's not by the trees doing. But
That's the question. So that's it.
sit, just here.
I darkened it in my better.
Right. And that, yeah. And that would be your where it says here, the workman's hand, wood and stone. That would be your cross that they put up, and that stone, that kahaba that they kiss, and it doesn't do nothing for you. But the Lord already told you in Deuteronomy 28 that He gonna do that. He gonna scatter you. Let's look at that. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. We read this earlier. Deuteronomy 28, we're going to start at 68, verse 68, and then jump up to 64. Give my brother, go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Right, and another word for Egypt is what? Bondage. So it said, the Lord shall bring thee into bondage again with ships. Go ahead.
And they shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
And no man gonna buy you. Verse, jump up to 64.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
And how is He gonna do that? He gonna do that by the way of ship. Go ahead.
From the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Even wood and stone. Even the Lord told you that. He gonna do this to you. So this is worship of wood, crosses, like they don't, like when we read in Deuteronomy 4 and 28, they don't do nothing. It says neither see, neither hear, nor eat, nor smell, they do nothing. But yet you go into somebody's house, you what? You see that cross. You go into these false churches, you see what? You see the cross. You see over there the brothers the Muslim brothers, they going over there to Mecca to do what? Kiss the rock. They make a voyage to go over there.
Sure do.
You know, they gotta, you know, they, one time out of my life, I gotta go there. They go there and they kiss a rock.
Sure do.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's almost look like a, I want to say like
Like a vagina.
like a vagina. So you put your head in there and you kiss it.
Oh, no.
I didn't mean for it to come out that way.
Y'all gotta look at it. And
But that's what they do.
it's satanic, and they don't even know.
And the kids.
And that's the stone. And I had this cat. I was coming out of Walmart. He was selling crosses that the guys was doing at the jail. They was making crosses, trying to make money, this and that and the third. And then he was trying to sell me one. I'm just like, yo, you know that's idolatry. He was just like, what's idolatry? He acted like he didn't want to know at first. He didn't know at first. And then he came along like, yeah, but we just doing this just to make money. I'm like, shoot, if you would have just asked me for $5, I'd have gave it to you.
Yeah, for real.
But since you want to tie it into this idolatry,
Right.
I'm like, you get nothing. Because I'm participating in that. I'm not giving you my money for that.
Right. John said, hold on now, Brother Joseph.
Saying, but nah, you know, but the Lord already told us that, you know, He gonna send us into slavery. You know, He gonna scatter us throughout the world. And we gonna serve what? These wood and stone that our fathers didn't, He didn't give us these things. You know, we seen what happened when matter of fact, let's go, where's that, when Moses went up to the mountain.
12.
12.
I'm sorry, 32.
Let's go to Exodus 32. Exodus 32.
Yeah, 32.
And we're gonna pick this up at look at verse 1. 32 and 1.
And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
Right, so here's Moses. He went up to commune with the Lord. And then he was taking too long. I guess he was taking too long for him to come down from the mount. So the children of Israel, they got worried. And they said, and when the people saw Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up. So Aaron probably was just chilling in his tent, just relaxing. And they just ran up on him. It says, and the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. Now we just read in Exodus 12 how he went in there and killed the firstborn, and all the rest of the plagues that he dropped on Egypt, and they're gonna act like this. Verse 2.
And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are on the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graven tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Right, but where did they get that from? They got that from Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So, worshiping other gods is nothing new to us. You know, we'll worship something in a heartbeat. Just like the big movie that came out. We just jumped right on that bandwagon. Just happy to see some black faces on the high. And like the brother was saying, it's just a movie, fairy tale.
That's right.
But we hop right on that wave.
So do.
But what jump down to verse 6. Let me see what they did. Of Exodus 32. Verse 6, yes, go ahead.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings.
They offerings to this idol. Go ahead.
And brought peace offerings.
Uh-huh.
And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play.
They having a good old time. Same thing with us. We have a good old time when it comes down to Kwanzaa and all kind of stuff. We'll party and drink for anything. So-and-so going to jail, let's have a party. So-and-so coming home from jail, let's have a party. We'll party for anything. But the Lord was not pleased with that. Verse 7.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou brought out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned.
Go ahead.
They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them.
After all that they didn't went through, the Lord has split the Red Sea. They didn't walk through dry ground and everything. They said they had turned aside quickly out of the way which I command them. Go ahead.
They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Verse 9.
And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people.
Stiff-necked people. That's us. That's on that. You know, but worshiping wood and stone, that ain't nothing new to us. You know, but the Lord always constantly telling us to turn back to the Lord. Let's go to Isaiah 56. I'm sorry, 55. Maybe that. At verse 6. Isaiah 55 and verse 6. I'm getting my brother Dad.
Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near.
Right, go ahead.
Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon.
Right, so the Lord already set this up for us. You know, his statute, laws, and commandments. He didn't gave us the Ark of the Covenant. He didn't gave us the commandments, dietary law, feast days. You know, but he said, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Turn to him. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, instead of serving these other gods, wood and stone.
Sure.
You know, and that's what these Egyptologists brothers are doing. Like they serving other gods. But if they want to go God for God, you can read when Exodus 12 how God smashed their gods. So yeah, that's what I got on that.
We'll go to 1 Corinthians 10. We'll come back to Exodus. Come back to Ezekiel, and we'll open it back up. Just want to show something based on what we just read about what happened in Exodus 32. And let's see who this was that was actually upset about this, that was actually talking to Moses. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, but let's see how he felt about it. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And pick it up at verse 1 for me, brother.
Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant, how that all our fathers which under the cloud and all passed through the sea.
Okay, so now this is taking us back to, it's only one time where our fathers came through the sea, right?
That's right.
That's the Red Sea.
That's right.
All right, keep reading.
And were all baptized into Moses.
So at that time when baptism was going on, because, you know, like we baptized unto Jesus now, he said they were baptized unto Moses, right? Go ahead.
In the cloud and in the sea.
Keep reading.
And did all eat the same spiritual meat.
Right, so they had one doctrine. They did all eat the same spiritual meat. What else?
And did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. And that rock was Christ.
Right, so even way back then, though, that was Jesus who was following them. That was Jesus that was up there on the mount talking to Moses. He the one told Moses to go down there and get your people, man. You see? They done set up here and built them a molten calf and said, these are the gods that brought us out of Egypt. But if you pay attention to something in Exodus 32, they were used to serving other gods in Egypt. So as soon as they get out to the wilderness, what they do? Soon as 40 days, Moses is gone. Might not even been that long. What they do? They go and build them another god. They done gathered. They say the multitude gathered together and they ran up on Aaron. They ain't say they ran up on him. But just imagine Aaron by himself, man. You got a group of people. 600,000 men came out alone. So ain't no telling how many women and children came, right? So I ain't saying all them people walked up on Aaron, but you would have probably built the molten calf too. Some people would have walked up on you like, make us some guys. Nah, man, I was playing PS4. I get up there. You gonna make some gods. But that was Jesus back then, and this is what they was accustomed to. They came out of Egypt. They was in Egypt worshiping other gods. That's why the first thing God said was what? In Exodus 20, don't have no other gods before me. First thing he told them. Then we read 12 chapters later, they built another god. All right? So they drank all the same. They drank the same spiritual drink. They drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that was Jesus, or that rock was Christ. But what did he say in verse 5?
But with many of them God was not well pleased. But they were overthrown in the wilderness.
So the Lord killed them in the wilderness. But he wasn't happy about what they was doing, though. Go ahead. What else?
Now these things were our example, to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lust.
But he's taking you back to those people, right? Because this is something you need to have, Sister Susan, right? This is what you can use to even take the person back to what they did when they came out of Egypt. When they put these other gods up, and now we doing it again today, and this is why Paul says what? Now these things were examples to us, right? They not here no more, so it wouldn't be an example to them, it'd be an example to us, to the intent we should not do what? Lust.
Should not lust after evil things, as they also lust.
Right, so we shouldn't be trying to go get them other guys and stuff. That's what they was doing. And in addition to that, what he said in verse 7?
Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them.
That's right, keep reading.
As it is written.
Now he going to take you back to what happened. He going to take you back to what happened in Exodus 32. That's why he said, as it is written. He says what? Neither be ye idolaters. That's worshiping idol gods, right? Then he says what?
As it is written.
As were some of them. But he's taking you back to what they were doing. They were worshiping other gods, idol gods, built them on calf. He said, don't do what they did. What?
As it is written.
As it is written. Where was it written at? What did it say?
The people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play.
Oh, where's that at? That's Exodus 32. So even in the New Testament, it's telling us we don't need to be doing what they was doing. Leave that stuff alone. All right. Go to one more place, Ezekiel chapter 8. Ezekiel 8. Ezekiel chapter 8, and let's pick this up at, you know how to explain it, Joseph? Not yet. Around, around 10, you know how to explain it yet? You know? Well, I'm going to let you try it. Ezekiel 8 and around, we can start up a little bit. Goodness gracious, you guys start beginning? No, let's start at, okay, verse 5. That's where I started at, and I helped you out.
Okay.
All right? And just what's happening, the Lord is coming to talk to, the Lord is coming to Ezekiel in a vision, all right? And he's going to show him some things that's going on with the elders, the ancients, the honorable Israel, what they doing behind closed doors, in other words, all right? So verse 5 says, Then said he unto me, Son of man, lift up thine eyes, now the way toward the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way toward the north, and behold, northward, at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. All right, so this image of jealousy, what he saw, somebody jealous of what's going on. So this is what Ezekiel is seeing. All right, but what Ezekiel is getting ready to be shown, it's gonna be shown that, you know, these priests in Israel, they worshiping other gods. But before we get started on that, Ezekiel is seeing somebody jealous. Common sense, who would that be that's being jealous? The Lord, right? Because he said I'm a jealous God. Don't have no other gods before me. All right? So he's saying here, so I lifted up my eyes the way toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry, right? He said furthermore to me, son of man, see thou what they do, even the great abominations that the house of Israel commit here, that I should go far from my sanctuary. But before we move, if you pay attention, in verse 5, he says, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry, right? Because, you know, it's like the Lord is showing Ezekiel something like right inside the church, what's going on. At the gate of the altar, like right where they get ready to come in to offer sacrifices at, it's like he finna show them what they doing. All right? So it says, furthermore, he said, furthermore to me, where we at? Okay, even the great abominations that the house of Israel commit here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary, but turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see great abominations. You got that? You got a comment? Don't kiss me.
Hello? Okay. I would like for you guys to read to this young lady about witchcraft that is also part of the Egyptology things. And we would like for you to go to Samuel 28.
We're not. You're gonna have to see. I'm not reading it. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
No, thank you. She already said thank you. She got what she needed. But I'm finna finish it. Yeah, we finna open this back up. Yeah, this is the last place.
Oh, I thought you were still on that one. I'm sorry.
This is the last one.
Oh, okay.
I'm after this, that's enough. We gotta open it back up. All right, so let's see here. Where we at? But what you can do, Brother Nemo, give me the book, the chapter, and the scripture, and I'll give it to her. Do that for me.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, do that for me. But I don't want to go read no more. We're gonna open it back after we finish this. All right. So he read 7 for me, bro.
And he brought me to the door of the court.
Right, because I know it's kind of tough, you know what I'm saying, but after a while, brothers that's teaching and dealing with Bible study, you read it, you know, after a while and listen to some class on it, it become a little easier. So he said, brought me to the door of the court. So now the Lord is going to take him, take him to the door of the court, and when I look, behold, what?
And behold, a hole in the wall.
Keep reading.
Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door.
Right, so you see some abominations, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Lord finna show him something. He say, hole in the wall. He say, dig in the wall. I'm going to show you something else. What did he say in verse 9, brother?
And he said unto me, Go in, and behold the wicked abominations that they do here.
Keep reading.
So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping thing, and abominable beast.
Wait a minute. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? Where every form of creeping thing and form of abominable beast come from? Where's that located? No. Where? Say it again. Leviticus. Leviticus 11, right? So evidently, I mean, it ain't like they either they worshiping it or they eating it. One or the other. It ain't like they just sitting there looking at it. You know. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. And I'll announce it so everybody else can have it too. So he said, so I went in and saw and behold every form of creeping thing, and abominable beast, and what else?
And all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about.
Right, so they had all type of idols up on the wall. Now, this is a vision that the Lord is showing Ezekiel, right? What else?
And there stood before them 70 men of the ancient of the house of Israel.
See, the ancients supposed to have some understanding. These ones supposed to be wise, right? He said there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. What else?
And in the midst of them stood Jezaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up.
I don't know who that is, but I'm sure it's before we got here. Must play a role of importance. He shouldn't be there probably. In the midst of them stood Jezaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand. Yep. And a thick cloud of incense went up. What else? Verse 12.
Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagining.
Keep reading.
For they say the Lord seeth us not. The Lord hath forsaken the earth.
Right, that's kind of like what we got going on today. You know, it's like, you know, all the sin is going on, but not necessarily with just the people, but with the preachers. It's like, you know, ain't nothing happened to us. We might as well just go ahead and just ball out. You know how I say in Isaiah 56, hey, they got drunk yesterday. We going to bring some more wine tomorrow. We going to make even more money than we did last time. That's why they go from one church to the next. One preacher invite another preacher over. We're going to give him a love offering to come preach to us. Why we got to pay you? You supposed to be doing this for free. It's just pimping, though, at its finest. But they act like there ain't going to be no repercussions for it, but they been doing this. He said, then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients, these are the elders of the house of Israel, do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery, or in his imagination in his mind, for they say, the Lord see us not. The Lord hath forsaken the earth. It tell you that the same thing in 2 Peter. Feel like the Lord ain't going to come back, hey, our fathers that fell asleep, we've been living like this for a long time. We can continue to live like this. But now I tell you in 2 Peter 3:8, what? That the Lord is long-suffering to us for it, not willing that any should perish. But when he come, he bringing that fire. You know. But what it say in verse 13, he ain't forsaken the earth. Don't think that. What else?
He said also unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do.
Right, he said, turn yet again, I'm going to show you something else. Think that's something. What else?
Then he brought me into the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
Wait a minute, there sat women weeping for who?
Tammuz.
That's in the Egyptology. That's supposed to be Nimrod's son, a grandson, or something like that. And he slept with his mama, all this type of nonsense. I don't know about it because I don't do it. But it come out of Egyptology.
Yes.
But it's been a problem. The Lord called it what? He said, I'm going to show you a greater abomination. Got women sitting up there weeping for Tammuz. What else he say? Verse 15.
Then said he unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these.
Oh man, got something even worse. They weeping for Tammuz. What else? Go ahead.
And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house.
No, now you done brought him to the inner court of the Lord's house, and what?
And behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar.
Oh man, between the porch and the altar, what else?
Were about 25 men with their backs toward the temple.
Right,
of
so
the Lord.
so they had about 25 men with their backs toward the temple of the Lord. What?
And their faces toward the east.
Keep reading.
And they worship the sun toward the east.
Oh, so Lord said, I'm gonna show you something even worse than that. So this will take you what? Back to Egyptology. The sun god. Why you think they worship on Sunday? They've been doing this, sisters and brothers, and it's always been a problem. He said what? Between the porch and the altar were about 25 men with their backs toward the temple of the Lord and their faces toward the east, and they worship the sun toward the east. When we pray, we do not pray toward the east. We might face east, but we pray toward Jerusalem. The Lord said his name there in Jerusalem, the holy city. And, you know, Solomon has the bet for us that if we happen to get sent off into captivity, if thy people which are called by your name humble themselves and pray towards your land, then you pray to, it's what is it, 1 Kings 7, Chronicles 7, I think, 2 Chronicles 7. You know, we not going there. Y'all can go there for y'all homework.
Yes, 1 Kings.
1 Kings? I think it's 7, right? 7, 8? Yeah, one of them. When y'all get it, y'all can put on the mic. You know, but he has the bet that if we pray toward our land, that God will hear our prayer, and the Lord agreed to it. So that's why we face Jerusalem. We ain't facing no sun. The Muslims face the east. You see? So all that stuff come from us. They just do it wrong. You know. But hopefully that helps, sister. And another place Brother Nemo had brought to my attention that he wanted to read about witchcraft. Why? I don't know. 1 Samuel 28, 6 through 16. Yeah, 6 through 16. I don't know. I mean, but just read it. The Bible is good to read anyway. But I don't understand what it had to do with this topic. Maybe it's going to tie in right there, because Brother Nemo, he be pretty up on game. So First Samuel 28, 6 through 16. All right, so in-house. In-house. Come on. And you, after him, John. I'm about to say Enoch.
Hey, that's a good.
I'm about to say,
That's
you know
more
what we
fit. That's
got.
more fit. That's like the other extreme, right? I'm Jonah.
No, you know what we got, so that's a good thing.
I'd just like some more clarification
Uh-huh.
on 1 Samuel chapter 21, verses 10 through 15.
Read it from you, just right.
And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achish, the king of Gath. And the servants of Achish said unto him, Is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another of him in dances, saying, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And David laid up these words in his heart, and was sore afraid of Achish, the king of Gath. And he changed his behavior before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gate, and let his spittle fall down upon his face. Then said Achish unto his servants, Lo, ye see the man is mad. Wherefore then have ye brought him to me? Have I need of madmen, that ye have brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house? So, reading that, my question is, what exactly does it say in verse 13 when it says he changed his behavior before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gate, and let his spittle fall down upon his beard?
What chapter is it now with?
1 Samuel chapter 21.
I think it was accurate.
Was that accurate?
I think it was.
What did it look like?
Huh?
What did it look like?
What you mean?
Like, when he did that, what did it look like?
We supposed to act it out?
You can describe it.
I think he's where is he at?
1 Samuel chapter 21, verses 10 to 15.
I think he was.
He had to be.
Yeah, he's trying to. I think he's trying to get out of it or something. Hey, step on my foot. It hurts too. So what was your question?
What is going on in verse 13? What is he doing? When it says he changed his behavior before them.
1 Samuel 21?
Yeah. That's verses 10 through 15.
Let's see, David arose and fled that day. Yeah, I know exactly. Oh well, as far as how he did it, I don't know, Cephas, but I think I tell you why he did it though. Yeah, like John said, he was acting as a madman, but it tell you why though. It said in verse 12, and David laid up these words in his heart and was so afraid of Achish, the king of Gath, and he changed his behavior before them. You know, he's trying to save himself.
The reason why I brought it up was because when I read it, it makes me think of how people look like in church today when they say I cast the Holy Ghost.
Oh no.
So I just want to make sure that I wasn't picturing a false image of what it's really.
Oh no, he wasn't doing that.
Okay.
No, it's almost like a survival tactic.
Survival time.
Yeah, like a survival tactic.
Right.
Yeah, I tell you, like right before that, David laid up these words in his heart and was so afraid.
Yeah.
of Achish, the king of Gath, and he changed his behavior before them. That lets you know he don't normally act like that. He changed. He put on the act. But you know, just reading before that let me know like it must be, had to be a survival tactic. You know what I'm saying? In order for them to let him go. I just dude crazy, man. He can't do no harm. Man. Get him out of here.
So was he acting crazy?
Yeah, it said he changed his behavior.
Yeah.
He was acting that way. Like he wasn't really mad.
No, I'm not saying he really was mad, but he was like he was acting like it.
Yeah, he was acting like
Okay.
it. Yeah, it's just imagine Paul. Imagine Paul doing that when he went before King Agrippa. You see what I'm saying? Now Paul was able to save himself, but he probably, if he would have pulled the Dave move, probably let him go. Man, he can't do no damage. Y'all tripping on this. This guy nuts. But they knew he wasn't nuts, though. You see what I'm saying? But David, this is what David did. John Brooks said he changed his behavior after VA the other month. He had to get his. What verse you had, Joseph?
Verse 11. Because they was just like, they knew who he was.
Right, they did. That's why they said that. Yeah, they knew who he was. You know, David. And it was in the service of. Because think about it. If Achish is a king, right, and the word is that David is the one that killed 10,000 and Saul killed thousands, maybe he gonna come and take us out. So David knew that. That's why I tell you that. It said the servants of Achish said unto him, is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another of him in dances, saying, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And David laid up these words in his heart. You see what I'm saying? What they were saying about him. So when he got before the king, he had that crazy.
So he was acting like a fool.
Yeah, he was acting like a fool. Like he was off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I said, survival tactic. They probably thinking, shoot, he did that with Saul, and we need to go and kill him. He probably gonna take us out. So David just, you know, played a role where I ain't gonna cause y'all no harm. And he got away.
The reason why I brought up that Holy Ghost thing is because when I thought about the let his spittle fall down upon his beard.
Right.
So I was just like, he just.
That in church is an evil spirit. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Nah, he was just he was doing that survival.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, bro. In house.
Yes, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got 3 quick questions. Hello?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I got 3 short questions. I'm not going to trouble you with all 3 of them.
Yeah, trouble us. This is what Bible study is about.
Well, the first one is dealing with a bunch of interpretations I've heard pertaining to Ham and Noah and unnakedness. Someone was suggesting there was some incest involved. Do you know anything as far as, have you heard anything dealing with that? Yeah, so can you give me a little clarification? Because I've heard people justify with the word. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, is that really what was going on?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I come back with another question after you.
Okay. You got it, Joe?
Yeah, I'll take a stab.
Take a stab, man. I announced that scripture, Brother Nemo. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
That's great.
That'll be some homework. What was it, you know, just overall, what was it talking about?
The price
You can say it on the mic.
That was to show her the price that we have to pay when we go to visit the people that read your hands, these witchcraft advisors, so that they can read what the price is of this sorcery by going to them.
Right. Okay.
That you become an enemy of God. That's what he's talking about in that chapter of Samuel.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. You
I
can
gotta
go.
hit the road.
Okay, man. Be safe. You got Brother Will, right?
Yeah, and I ain't gonna have no gas if you stay up there
Where he at?
in the van.
Oh, he in the. Oh man.
And he's running.
Why he ain't staying? Why he ain't come in?
He don't feel good.
Oh, he don't?
No.
Okay. All right,
See
man.
you.
Y'all have a good week, man. I'll hit you up tomorrow, man. So we gotta get up together Monday. You heard me? Nemo, don't forget Monday, man.
Monday?
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay,
All right,
sounds
brother.
great. Peace to everybody.
All right,
Peace,
peace,
brother.
Good night. Be safe.
What is it, Genesis? 11? Yeah, Genesis 11. Let's go look at that right quick. I think it's 11. Not 11. Yeah, Genesis 9. And let's pick it up at verse 20.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I am. I got something on that. You got, what's the name? Yeah, it's Leviticus. I'm trying to see where it's at. Without typing in my phone. I think it's 18. Genesis, Leviticus 18 and Genesis chapter 9 verse 20 and Leviticus 18. All right, so I'm going to start reading. Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard. And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent.
Right, so it says, and Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunk, and he was uncovered within his tent. So he was drunk, naked. Go ahead, brother. Verse 22.
And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without.
Right, so that nakedness, people like to just, they get tripped off the nakedness. But here, in plain scripture, it says, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. So he saw his father naked. And it says, and he told his brethren without. So instead of covering his father, he went back to his brothers and told his brothers what happened. Hey, man, dad over there, drunk, naked. Instead of just covering him. Verse 23.
And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father.
Right, so they took it says, and Shem took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, and it said they went backwards, so they won't see their father's nakedness.
Right.
Go ahead, brothers. And covered, and it says, and covered the nakedness of their father. Go ahead. And their faces.
Oh, well, backward. And they saw not their father's nakedness.
And they saw not their father's nakedness. That's what Ham should have did.
Right.
Instead of going back, you know, so hey man, look at that. He just twisted, drunk, naked. But people say, even though you can't read it, because I even heard where they said at this time, they said Ham went and slept with his mother.
That's right.
But we
exactly
can't
what I
read
heard.
that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even read that the mother was even there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't got drunk plenty of times by myself. You know, not like that. Not drunk. But it says here, but in plain sight, it says, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his brethren without. Because they should have went and covered he should have went and covered his father. But he went back and told his brothers. Like it brought shame to him.
Right.
To his father.
That's right.
Verse 24.
And Noah woke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done unto him. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brother.
Right, because you brought shame to me. You know, you couldn't even cover me up. You went back and pretty much just made a mockery of what you saw. instead of covering me up. So what the brothers did was they took the garment and walked backwards. So they didn't want to see their father like that. But people would take the nakedness and just run wild with it because of what you read in Leviticus.
Well, before you get to Leviticus, let's see what it says in Exodus 20. This will kill that right there. We go to the next question.
Exodus 20 and pick up verse 12.
It's around.
What you want to
We'll start at verse 23 and read down to 26.
Okay.
I'm going to read it for you. Ye shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen, and all places where I record my name. I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. So this is the Lord talking, telling the priest, Aaron and the priest now, don't go up on that altar, because up under that robe you got on, you naked. So he told him to make some breeches, or you can call them breeches, but he told him to make some underwear, in other words, or some briefs to put on up under there, because I don't want to see your nakedness. You see, so before we even get to Leviticus, we got this right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we just talking about he like just making reference to how he saw his nakedness. You know what I'm saying? Not sleeping with his father. He saw his nakedness. That's why they walked in backwards and covered their father. You see, so but the other nakedness in Leviticus, that's talking about sleeping around and all that type of stuff.
I think that's where they were going back and forth.
Yeah, they missed Exodus 20 though. You see what I'm saying? Like they missed that. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's your name?
Right up with me, right away. I don't want to hold the mic.
No, man, you good. Man.
All right, well, I got this other small questions dealing with the cleanliness law. As far as having an urn in the house, is that considered a cleanliness issue? I know it being around dead people and funerals is a cleanliness issue, but having an urn of a loved one in the house, is that a cleanliness issue according to the Bible?
It probably would be if we was in Jerusalem, but we ain't in Jerusalem right now.
In Jerusalem, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of the laws that the Lord gave was pertaining to the Holy Land. We're in captivity right now, so the whole land is defiled. You know what I'm saying? With the inhabitants thereof. Like he tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you want to keep an urn. You know what I'm saying? I can't see what that's a sin.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
That's weird though.
I mean, they just put it in their little containers and put them on.
Yeah, but every time you pass by the living room coffee table.
Yeah. I know the word talks about it. I think it's something my brother was telling me. I went to a funeral and he didn't tell me that I was like,
for me, so you can hear your mind.
all right. There was a brother that was speaking to me about going to a funeral a while back, telling me that I was unclean if I had actually went into the church where the body was. And that what made me think about the urn, because I looked at the scripture because I didn't understand what he was saying. I looked it up, and Numbers 19:16.
Yeah.
It talks about different things that you're not supposed to do pertaining to the dead. And one of them was about touching the dead body.
Right.
And it's all in 19, all in there somewhere.
Right.
But when I looked at it, I was like, no, maybe that brother was right. And then he didn't say nothing about the urn, because that was just something I noticed. The question that came to my head.
Right.
In response to that.
Right. Understand. Yeah, and you know, when I first came to the word, boy, I was so zealous. I'm telling you, man, I would get into it with sisters over at Israel of God about coming to church unclean. I would put them on blast, man. Brother Dewell, one of the teachers over there, he had to tell me, Nate, man, you gotta chill out, man. You're a little too rough. You know what I'm saying? Because I just thought, you know, where we was going to church at was the temple or the tabernacle, but it's not. You see what I'm saying? You know, this is actually, we actually in the Gentile land. Like we under captivity right now, and everything's defiled.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So mainly when he made a lot of those statements, he made them pertaining to Israel, the land, and also the tabernacle. So let's go have a look at it. Going to Numbers 19. Numbers chapter 19. You can start at verse 1. I was reading some about the Lord. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp.
All right, so pay attention to what he's saying without the camp, right? Right, so that was a place designated for us to handle stuff, you know what I'm saying, when it came to sacrifices or being put away, you know what I'm saying, for uncleanliness and stuff like that. We don't have that set up today. We're in captivity. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said a lot of that stuff pertained to when Jesus, you know, actually had to set this stuff up back then. You know, and it would have been still good to a certain degree, you know, to a certain degree, if we would have still been in the land. You know what I'm saying? But he says, this is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, that they bring their red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. So a red heifer who ain't never been put to work, all right, without no spot. What is that, verse 3?
And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp, and one shall slay her before his face.
All right, so you're going to give it to Eleazar the priest. That's right. Then one going to slay her before his face. They're going to kill it. They're going to kill this heifer. Go ahead.
And Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times.
Right, so where is that at, though? You see what I'm saying? Like where is that at? Like, somebody find me a tabernacle. Somebody find me a priest.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so, like, we can keep reading, but it kill it right out the gate, because this don't exist no. You know what I'm saying? Because when we got sent into captivity, like, everything that came with us, like, is gone. Everything that came with us as a nation and how we did things is now gone. Like, even if we tried to do this, like, how do we know what tribe we come from? Like, how we know we don't got our own farm, so how we know the red heifer didn't have no blemish on it? You see what I'm saying? Like, we just lost everything. You know what I'm saying? But this is how you had things set up back then. All right? So this is what they're going to do in order to deem you clean. They're going to get this red heifer without blemish, right? You know, and they're going to cut it. They're going to use the ashes. They're going to sprinkle her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. Read verse 5.
And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh, and her blood with her dung shall he burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop, and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water.
All right, now skip down to verse 10. Go ahead. No, 9.
And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and lay them up without the camp in a clean place. And it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of separation. It is a
Okay, so
purification.
now notice what he say though, right? He says, he that burneth shall wash his clothes in water and bathe his flesh in water and shall be clean unto the evening, right? Then it says, a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and lay them up without the camp in a clean place. Talking about the ashes. And it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel, right? For a water of separation, it is a purification for sin. So now we got to do all this now. All right, so this is what you got for what happens when you come in contact with a dead body. All this needs to be in place. All right, so now skip down to verse 12, bro.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But
so he gonna purify himself with those ashes, right? Read verse 11. I'm sorry. Read 11 for me.
He that toucheth the dead body
Now notice what he said. He said, "He that toucheth a dead body, what?
Of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself purify himself with it on the 3rd day.
We gonna purify himself with what?
The ashes.
With the ashes of the helper, right? See, if you ain't doing this, you ain't clean. Then you got to find the priest.
They done away with it.
Yeah, we until Lord get back.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So right now we ain't, bruh. Plus that ain't even the tabernacle. You know what I'm saying? Like this is all relative to Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? So
Kind of people taken out of context.
yeah, they do. Yeah, that because I just do the same thing. Sister coming to church on her period, I make my daughter stay home. My wife, y'all ain't coming to church, y'all ain't clean. You know what I'm saying? And then one day I called boy, he snapped on me. I was like, ooh, you lucky you my elder. I was like, ooh, boy, you lucky you my elder if I want to say. Man, ooh, boy. Man, I'm still salty about that every day. But cause I had called him and asked him, I wanted to see him. I don't know if y'all know who Bowie is, but you know, one of the brothers that's been teaching 45 years now. And when I first came in some years ago, I had called him. I was like, Brother Bowie, cause I would call up there every week, talk to him like every week, man. You know, I called him. I said, I heard you coming in town, man. I just want to know, is it okay that I bring my wife to class? He's like, why you say that, brother? I said, cause you know she ain't clean this week, and I ain't want to come there, you know, if I was wrong. He's like, man, where y'all get this doctrine from? I was like, man, I got it from. I ain't say nothing. I was just like, oh, I can come? He's like, man, y'all kill me with this. I was like, you know what? I don't even say nothing, bro. I had got it from one of your teachers. You see what I'm saying? But I ain't say nothing. I was like, you know what? I was young in the word. But I knew I wasn't gonna speak against my elder. Period.
That's right.
Whether he in the word or not, I just brought up a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just bit my tongue on that. But I wanted to go. And you know what I'm saying? But my point is, I was so zealous back then.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? He told me, this ain't the temple. This ain't the tabernacle. I was like, what? Like, this ain't the tabernacle? I was like, it's not.
The Holy
What
God.
is it then? You know what I'm saying? So I understand what people saying. You know what I'm saying? They just zealous, man, and don't really understand it, man. This place right here, this ain't the tabernacle. You know what I'm saying? If it was, we wouldn't have no bathroom inside here.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? This ain't the tabernacle, man. So hopefully that helped that, man.
That does. I appreciate
Praise
it.
the Lord, man. Anybody else? Another question?
Well, I got one more, but I can hold out if somebody online got a question themselves.
No, you good. We slow today. Yeah, we slow today, man.
All right, this last question I had, it ain't got nothing to do with the previous questions. This is talking about Gentiles, because I know at some point in the Bible it said it was just Jews and Gentiles, or just Israelites and Gentiles. But after Noah with Japheth, I think it was just Japheth was the original father of Gentiles.
Gentile, yeah, right.
So where did it switch? where it was just Jews and, or did it switch? Today, where it's just, I know Paul talks about the Jew and the Gentile, as if it's like two different type of nations, so to say.
It is.
Okay, is that somewhere in like the Kings or something, or Chronicles?
I'm saying, like, what do you mean, like, when you say it switched?
I got an understanding from another brother that was telling me something happened and God actually put all of the nations together and made them Gentiles somewhere. I forget what book he referred to, but he said everybody was considered Gentiles except for Jacob's descendants. They were all the Jews in a sense. You ever heard anything like that?
I'm trying to get the Gentile part.
When I talk about people that's, I'm thinking about in the New Testament.
Right.
When Paul referred to Jews and Gentiles, he said this is not just for the Jews, but also for the Gentiles.
Right.
He don't say like the Canaanites and all that kind of stuff. He just kind of clump everybody together as a Gentile.
Right.
But like I said, I didn't understand it.
Well, he would consider it's they still exist. Like other nations exist.
Right, of course.
Like Ishmaelites, they here. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptians, they here. But the Jews and Gentiles, you know what I'm saying, mainly at this time, he was just referring to who in rulership.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Gentiles running the world right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? During Paul's time, during Paul's time, that's who was running the world. And that's who they was talking to. That's who they was dealing with, being, you know, where Paul was going to preach at. You know, Jesus, when he came, the Samaritan woman, you know, these people that was actually placed into Israel, you know, she thought she was an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? They was placed in Israel some years ago, but Exodus, go to Exodus chapter 15. I'm gonna show you something. Exodus 15. Cause right now, like Japheth is the father of the Gentiles in the flesh.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like the seed of Japheth is your European.
Got it. I understand that part. That's right.
Right. Them be your Gentiles. But they got a doctrine that's going on. You see what I'm saying? They got a doctrine, Sunday, Easter, Christmas, Lent, you know what I'm saying? Gentile. You see what I'm saying? And you know, so you either dealing with the Jews or you dealing with the Gentiles.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So it's a spiritual thing.
At this point.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? That's why when Paul was saying that if you want to be a part of what we do, you still got to, you now become a part of the commonwealth of Israel. Gotcha. And no longer Jews. I mean, no longer Gentiles, but they still Gentiles. Mm-hmm. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But now they become Israel because they take
spiritual
on.
Israel.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
See?
Gotcha.
So Genesis chapter 15. Genesis 15. And then we got a question for you. Yeah, I was, man. Yeah, I was looking for an answer, and he snapped at me, Brooks. He straight snapped at me. I think I called back after that. Yeah, I called back, I think. Yeah, I did. I was just, man. Yeah. But like I said, I had learned from somebody else. From one of the elders. The elders had told me that, so I was just going by what they said. That's why you got to read for yourself. Genesis 15. And let's look at verse 13. Read that for me, brother.
You said unto Abram, now of the surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that there is not theirs.
Y'all shut that door?
Sorry.
It's okay.
And he said unto Abram, now of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
Right, so he said, know of a surety, talking to Abraham. He said, know of a surety that thy seed, Abraham's seed, gonna be a stranger. Shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and what?
And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Not in America. This ain't talking about 400-year captivity. So 1619, we ain't getting out of here. We're getting out of here soon, but it ain't gonna be 16, 19. We got some things that have to unfold. All right, so they're gonna serve them. They're gonna afflict them 400 years. What else?
Also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterwards shall they come out with great substance.
Mm-hmm.
And thou should go to thy fathers in peace.
Right, so he was making reference to when they come out of this captivity, they're going to come out with great substance. That's why the Egyptians gave them all the gold and silver and stuff. Like, get out of here. He gave them everything. They spoiled the Egyptians. But he told them in verse 15, he said, but thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. Verse 16.
But in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again.
Talking about to the with Abraham. He said, but in the fourth generation, they're going to come hither again for what?
For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
Right. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. So once the iniquity of the Amorites got full, which were the ones that was in power at that time, during Israel's captivity, hey, once they time is up, the Lord gonna get them out of captivity, right? But this is what the Lord was referring to. Now let's go over to Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21, and now let's see who's in power now. See, they was in power for a while, the Egyptians. And then, after they got taken down, eventually Israel came up as a nation of people, right? We had our kings and stuff like that. And then eventually we fell, we dropped the ball and fell also. Now who's next in line? And the one that's next in line gonna be in power until the Lord get back. So read verse 24. Luke 21 and verse 24. Now go ahead.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
Now this is what the Lord is saying, referring to Israel. He said they're gonna fall by the edge of the sword, and what's gonna happen?
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
Not some nations. We got led away captive into all nations. What else?
And Jerusalem shall be treaded down.
So Jerusalem gonna be trodden down or being controlled by who?
Of the Gentiles.
Of the Gentiles until when?
Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Until just like the Amorites, when their time was full, guess what? Israel came out of captivity. Now when Jesus came on the scene, you know who was ruling? The Gentiles. So for the most part, what they put out is what's the order of the day. You see? That's why you have brothers say, it was the Israelite with a Gentile mind. That's true. But someplace in the Bible, they ain't talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. No, we actually talking about Gentile. But you can be Israelite with a Gentile mind. That's why they're going to be worshiping tomorrow. Because you got doctrine from a Gentile. You know, that's the order of the day right now. All right, so let's see here. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And pick this up at. Did you and Sister Mika account? I did that already. Oh, did Brother Reggie already leave? Brother Reggie already left?
I think he's coming back.
Sister Michelle? Oh, you got 5?
Is some more coming?
Oh. No open book. Yeah. Surprise. No open book. No open book, bro. Nah, y'all was here today. You don't need no
exact
book.
words.
Yeah, exact words.
Don't flip the words around.
Yeah, you don't need open book. Okay, so now let's go look here at where we going at? Oh, 1 Corinthians 10. Who else? Reggie, Justin, he's out of town. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Keith? Oh, here, Keith. There you go. Look, somebody. I see somebody in here that You was here all day, right? All right, yeah. It's not open book. That's a surprise in there. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Let's see here. Let's pick this up at verse 18. Why am I coming here? 1 Corinthians chapter 10. All right, you start at verse 19. I don't know why I'm coming here. Go ahead.
What say I then?
Mm-hmm.
That the idol is anything,
Mm-hmm.
or that which is offered in sacrifices to idols is anything.
Right. No, we can't say that. Paul's saying nah, because what we partake in, we partake in the Lord's body when it comes to Passover. We partake in His body by eating the bread, by drinking, the wine that represents His blood. So no, we can't say the idol is anything, because what? What is saying in verse 20?
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devil.
Right, but that's where we at in this time when Paul is out preaching. He's preaching. Remember, he's the apostle to the Gentiles.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Not the apostle to the Israelites. Even though it tell you that he gonna send them forth to preach to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
We just see mainly his letters in the Bible were mainly written to the Gentiles. Because he came and bringing the word. But he said that the things that they sacrifice to devils, not to God. How many you got of these?
I think that's 12.
12 of them. So Anthony.
You need more?
Huh?
You need more?
Yeah, I meant to catch Anthony. Look. Who else is out there?
Cephas.
Oh yeah, Cephas. Yeah, Cephas. You got one, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You had his brother, Jonah.
Jonah,
Get
Enoch.
us Cephas for me.
You can call me Enoch, please. If I fit the description.
Hey, pass this to Brother Derek. Brother Derek, this is for you and your son. Y'all can work on this together. Unless you got some more, man.
I'm
You got more? Well, give one to Brother Derek and then one to Johnny and his brother, Sean, I think? Sean, yeah.
Sorry.
No, what's the name? Not open book.
So when is this due?
I'm sorry, Johnny. Pass it to your daddy. And my wife, she gonna bring a couple more. That's what I like to kind of do for the brothers, man. To kind of, get the brothers, get them tight in this word, man. That's all. Trying to figure out ways to help us get a little better. That's all. So it's good.
No open book.
But they open book today. Nope.
This for right now.
You can. I give y'all next week.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out.
I give y'all. I give you next week.
No, I'm not gonna cheat.
Word for word. Oh no, Lord watching you, brother.
So it ain't due by sunset, huh?
No, I give you next week. I give you next week. But it's not open book though.
Huh?
Word for word, not open book. It's today's class.
Oh, gotcha.
It's today's class.
Okay.
I might as well do it right now then.
I mean, it's up to you. But it's today's class, so
Yeah, we can't use it.
you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
You gonna try to watch the class, ain't you?
Nah, I was on. I got my notes from the class.
Oh,
They answered that
okay.
first question.
See, yeah, that's good. Took the notes. All right, so now let's see here. So he said, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. But we in their time right now. You know what I'm saying? Just like we was in the time with the Amorites back then. It wasn't. I don't really see them really making reference to Gentiles at that time. You mainly see what? Stay away from the gods of Egypt, right? You know what I'm saying? Because that's who was ruling at that time. So now we in the New Testament, and who's in power now? The Romans, or the Gentiles. You see what I'm saying? But in the Old Testament, you mainly dealt with, as far as who was ruling, it was Egypt. Then we had some power. Then mainly the New Testament, hey, when Jesus came, even Rome was in power at that time. That's why he went to go talk to Pilate. You know what I'm saying? The Gentiles were in power at that time. You see? So it is a difference, though. It is a difference, and that's the main thing I wanted to point out first. It is a difference between Noah's three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. All right. You know, now that we're in the New Testament, though, you know, mainly Paul mainly talking to the Gentiles, but everybody's included, though. You know, it's just like I say, it's mainly what's I ain't gonna say popular, but it's mainly who he was coming into contact with. That's who he was going to talk to, right? So it would make sense for his conversation to be directed toward who he's dealing with all the time, and letting them know. I mean, if some Egyptians, if he mainly talking to Egyptians, then he'll be like, you know, there's no difference between the Jew and the Egyptian or the Hamite.
Right.
But he ain't really talking to, you know, he mainly talking to the Gentiles, but everybody falls up under that because it still was mainly for Israel. Now, when you look at the Jew, when they make reference to the Jew, they mainly are talking about the people that was left in the land when Jesus came. When he came, it was Judah, Levi, and Benjamin for the most part. Might have had Simeon among them also, but it was mainly Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, right? Now notice what they're going to call, go to Romans chapter 11. And now notice what they're going to call, what Paul is going to say. When he makes reference to, well, has the Lord cast away his people? Romans chapter 11. Pick it up at verse 1, brother. What it say?
I say then, have God cast away his people?
Now this is Paul talking, right? Talking about the Israelites. Nope, that ain't what I'm looking for, though. I think it's Romans, it ain't 12. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Romans chapter 11. Yeah, I'm sorry. I say then, have God cast away his people, what?
God forbid.
But when he say his people, he really talking about Jews because in Romans chapter 3, we'll come back here. Hold your finger there. Romans 3, and pick it up at verse 3. Romans 3 and verse 3.
For what if some did not believe?
I'm sorry. Romans 3 and verse 1.
What advantage then have the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision?
Okay, now this is what people addressed us as. Jew coming from the tribe of Judah. But mainly this is who was there in the land. So the Gentiles just look at, you know, how they just, you know, y'all look alike. So hey, y'all black. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of in the sense, hey, y'all Jews. But inside of that you had Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. Like I said, you might have had some other among us. For the most part, the 9 tribes are already carried into captivity.
That's right.
All right, but if you notice here, do me a favor, brother. You get that to Sister Mikael. That's Mikael.
You
Right?
drop me some there.
Okay, that's right. What is Jediah's daughter's name?
Micaiah.
Micaiah. I thought I said it right. I keep getting the names wrong. So it say, what advantage then hath the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, right? Talking about the advantage of the Jew. What he say?
But chiefly because that in them were committed. That unto them were committed the oracles of God.
Right, so unto the Jew was committed the oracles of God, right? So now going to Romans chapter 11. What advantage then hath the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? But why is Paul addressing it as a Jew? Because that's all the Gentiles knew us as. As they didn't really get off into all the separate, you know, the different tribes and nothing like that. They just saw who was there, and that's what they labeled us as, right? But Paul's going to tell you when he says to have God cast away his people in verse 1. Read that again for me, brother.
I say then, have God cast away his people?
Talking about the Israelites or the Jew, right? Have God cast away his people, what?
God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham.
Wait a minute, of what?
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
Wait a minute, so he said, I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. But they still considered him a Jew. That's why he was in Romans chapter 3 saying what the advantage of the Jew is. You see what I'm saying? But at that time, that's mainly what you had. Go to John chapter 4,
That makes sense. Because the northern tribes have been scattered at that point.
Yeah, and you had the southern tribe, right. So it's just like, even though, like I said, even though all 3 of them was there, might have had Simeon among Judah too, but they just called us Jews. Like, look at this lady right here. Check out this lady in John chapter 4. John chapter 4. John 4, and we're going to look at verse 6. This when Jesus came to get some water when the brothers had went into the city, and Jesus stayed back, and he saw the Samaritan woman at the well and asked her to give him something to drink, right? Notice what she going to say to him. Pick it up at verse 9. Go ahead.
Then said the woman of Samaria unto him,
Uh-huh.
How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which I am a woman of Samaria?
How you know he a Jew? How you know he ain't from the tribe of Benjamin? How you know he ain't from the tribe of Levi? You see what I'm saying? Like this was what was going for the day at that time. All Jews. Like, but we know that wasn't the case because Paul even broke down who he was, all the way down to Abraham. He said, I'm from the seed of Abraham, from the tribe of Benjamin. I am an Israelite. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But this lady here, she was like, how are you being a Jew asking drink of me, what?
For the Jews have no dealings with Samaritans.
Right, which am a woman of Samaria, for the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. So this way you're different. You got your Jews here, you got your Gentiles, right? Okay. So now that Jesus died, he's going to bring us all back into the fold. It's not going to do away with the order, though. The order is still Israel got to preach the gospel. But as far as getting into the kingdom, hey, it don't matter, Jew or Gentile. You know. All right, so go look at Ephesians 2. Is it dark outside? That's something there? Is something there? No, I said the sun goes.
It's dark.
It's dark? Okay.
What you just said is put a question in my head too when you said that Israel had to preach the gospel. Jews right. or Gentiles can be going into the kingdom. When you said that the nation of Israel, like the African American folks that are the only one that preach the gospel, is that what you mean by Israel or spiritual Israel?
No, the Israelites, period, not just African American.
I'm saying spiritual Israel. Like if it's a Gentile that's been converted, they still can't teach the gospel.
No, you ain't getting up here. No, you ain't,
it's like
that ain't your place.
A Roman, not a Roman, I guess.
No, you
Samaritan, put it like that. A Samaritan, somebody say, I'm from Samaria now, and now I follow Jesus. I'm keeping the commandments, the statute, and ordinance.
And? What that mean? Like,
okay. Okay. So it's a nationality thing as well, as far as.
No, we like this our job. That's why we in prison, the prison house. That's why the police shooting us down, because we don't do our job. So it's like we wake up and be like, okay, you can do it. Nah, man, no, we tired of getting whooped. You see what I'm saying? Like, we came into this predicament because we didn't do our job.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I said African American, I meant descendants of slavery.
Yeah, all it. Right, I got you.
Descendants of slavery.
Yeah, because we everywhere. We in Haiti, Jamaica, we all over the place. So, but it is our job as Israel to preach the gospel. You know, and you have some people, you know, from other nationalities want to teach. But, you know, we try to cater to it and, you know, as far as where you can help.
Okay.
But as far as teaching, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do it because God set an order up.
God, he chose.
Yeah, just like the woman. The woman ain't got no business up in teaching either. But we can't have, like for instance, where Paul couldn't get to where he was going at, like during that time, like he write letters and stuff to Timothy. Timothy was a Gentile. Titus was a Gentile. You see what I'm saying? But he had them set churches up. But who was behind the scene running it all? Okay. Paul was.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So we trying to make things work for the gospel. That's like Brother Josh down in Jacksonville, a Gentile. You know, for my cousin died a few weeks ago, a month or two ago, before he died, I called Brother Josh up and I called Brother Julius for both of them to get out the hospital to pray for him. You know, I was gonna have Joshua do the praying, Julius do the reading for him. Mm-hmm. Julius being an Israelite, but I was gonna send an Israelite so he can at least learn how to do this. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, hey, this brother Joshua's been a Gentile. He been watching us. We've been training them up in the word, so you know how to go anoint somebody with oil, man. But as far as leading the congregation, you can't have it.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? But there's certain things you can do in the body. But this right here just ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I say, you know, it ain't just us getting behind here trying to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. Like God, we were born into this. Gotcha. And because we haven't done our job, we catching hell, man. Like, it's like I say, people want to get up here and teach the gospel, but you don't want the curses that come with it. Mm. Like, you don't want to barely be making it week to week, check to check. Mm. You don't want to get pulled over by the police and don't know if you're going to get home. I don't care if you in the word, being an Israelite, a brother, ride down the street, you see the police, bruh, you know dog and well, like, man, all right.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I done got so crazy to the point I ride by the police, I wave, like I know him. Blow the horn, he out there wrecking train. I don't even know you, dog. I'm blow the horn just to let you know I'm cool. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But you don't got to live like that being from another nationality. You see what I'm saying? We have to live like that, and I understand why. We pissed off God. You understand what I'm saying? So by us being in this predicament, doing what we did to God, it don't make sense for us to get up and give our job over to somebody else. He's going to tell you that in Ezekiel. We'll go to Ezekiel 44 after this and see that.
Okay.
All right? But it's Ephesians 2. Yeah, it ain't that we don't want people to help and teach and all that, but hey, God gave this to us, man. You know what I'm saying? And we do a pretty good job. Like, you gonna have some kinks and stuff to work out, but we good. Like the brothers, man, like when we turn back to the Bible, we run it right. When we turn back to the Bible and do like God tell us, this is the only way we can function as a people. We can't function no other way. Like, and that's good though. That's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what's gonna be the example to other nations. Ephesians chapter 2, and start at around verse 14, brother. Ephesians 2 and 14. Go and read that for me.
For he is our peace, who have made both one, and have broken down the middle wall of petition.
All right, come back to verse 8. We gotta read that. And we're gonna go to what's the name after this? Ezekiel 44 after this, and that'll be it. All right, go ahead.
For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourself, it is a gift of God. Not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works, which God hath before ordained that we should walk in them.
You got 2 questions on that. Finish those up before we go. I'm gonna let you hit those. All right, so he said, for by grace are you saved, right? Through faith, not being circumcised. Because remember, this is Paul talking. And that's what his whole conversation was about, trying to clean up what Israel was trying to say you needed for salvation, which in Acts 15, it says you need to be circumcised in order to be saved. But Paul is saying, by grace are you saved through faith. And that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God. Not of what?
Not of works, lest any man should boast.
Right, so regardless of how much work you do, you know, that had nothing to do with the Father sending Jesus down here to die for the sins of man.
That's right.
That was going to happen while you was in your sin. It was already a plan for him to save this man. So he said, what, not of works, lest any man should boast. So we being Israelites, we don't have that right to boast and say nobody else can receive salvation. What else?
For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to good works.
That's right, keep reading.
Which God had before ordained that we should walk in.
That's right, go ahead. Commandments. Verse 11.
Wherefore remember that ye being in past times Gentiles in the flesh.
But notice what Paul said. Now he jumped into these Gentiles in the flesh, right? He said, wherefore remember that you being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are what?
Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Right, so you was called uncircumcised, like by the Israelites, almost like back in the Old Testament. Remember when the brothers was mad for the mad at the brother for sleeping with their sister Dinah?
Right.
You know, talk about the uncircumcised came into her. They was mad about that. So it's almost like a derogatory name in a sense. He said, wherefore remember that you being in time past Gentiles in the flesh who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, that what?
That at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel.
Okay, so they had no connection. We didn't deal with them, right? Before Jesus died.
That's right.
Right? He said that at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and what?
And strangers from the covenants of promises.
Keep
having
reading.
no hope and without Christ, without God in the world.
That's right. So if Jesus never came and died, then nobody else be able to get it. He said what? That at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. But what?
But now in Christ Jesus, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Christ.
So now that Jesus has died for us, it brings us closer, the Jew and the Gentile. It has nothing to do with the order, though. It just, brings us closer together. Instead of us being so divided now we have a common ground. You understand? Keep reading.
For he is our peace.
So Jesus is our peace. What?
Who have made both one.
See, we all one accord. So he made both one. Now you got one Lord, one faith, one baptism. See, this is why, the Lord allow us to date outside of our nationality. It wasn't a problem with, it wasn't a problem with the nationality you got with. It was a problem with serving them other gods.
Right.
You see? So now that he done came and died, he says what? For he is our peace who has made both one. And have did what?
And have broken down the middle wall of partition between us.
Right, so he broken down that wall of division that was between us. Keep reading.
Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments containing an ordinance.
Right, so we saw one of them laws containing ordinances before we got here. Where what the Samaritan woman had said, you know, how's that you talking to me? Mm-hmm. You know, the Jews don't have no dealings with the Samaritans.
That's right.
Oh, you take it with you? Oh, yeah, there you go. You done?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm straight. If I don't know it, I can't go in the book. I'm straight. I did the best I could.
Okay. All right, thanks.
See y'all later.
Okay, brother.
Right.
Have a good week, man.
All right.
All right, so he says, so having abolished his flesh the enmity, or the hatred between the two, even the law of commandments containing ordinances. But they had that, that's why when Peter went to the Gentile, he understood that to call no man common or unclean. But before that, hey, the Jews didn't mess with no other nations. But Jesus now died, he abolished that law of commandments containing ordinances for to do what? Making himself
of twain, one new man.
Right, so instead of it being two separate Jew and Gentile, now he's making what? Of twain, one new man, so making peace, right?
That's
All
right.
right, read verse 19.
Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints of the household of God.
Right, so he said now you're no longer what? Strangers or foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and the household of God, right? So now he done brought us all together. Now go to Ezekiel chapter 44, and we're going to hit this online. Ezekiel chapter 44. Yeah, man, like I say, a lot of people want to do this as far as other nations are concerned. They want to get up here and preach and stuff like that. But I just say, no, man, just be content with what God got you to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, God set Israel up as a nation of people to do this, and we fine. We fine. We can handle the business. You know what I'm saying? And then wherever you can be used at, we'll find a way to get you, to put you to work. But for the most part, we got it, man. Ezekiel 44. We'll pick this up at verse. I started verse 6.
And
Go
thou,
go ahead.
And thou shalt say to the rebellious, even to the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, O ye house of Israel, let us suffice you of all your abominations, and that ye have brought unto my sanctuary strangers, uncircumcised in heart, and uncircumcised in flesh, to be in my sanctuary, to pollute it, even my house. When ye offer my bread,
Right, so they ain't supposed to do that though. What? Keep reading.
the fat and the blood, and they have broken my covenant because of all their abominations.
Right, so they say the Lord is saying the nations, the strangers have broken my covenant because of all of our abominations, right? What else he say? Verse 8.
And ye have not kept the charge of my holy things.
Wait a minute. He say you ain't did what? You have not kept the charge of my holy things. It don't belong to nobody else. He said, you have not kept the charge of my holy things. Like getting up and preaching, Israel's supposed to do that. Baptism, Israel's supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Preaching the word, going out, Israel's supposed to do that. But he said, you have not kept the charge of my holy things, but you did what?
But ye have set keepers of my charge and my sanctuary of yourselves.
Right, so yeah, we know the Lord don't like that. We ain't gonna pass it on. He said, you have set keepers of my charge and my sanctuary for yourself. You supposed to be preaching. You gonna sit your butt down, and you matter of fact, you going over to watch Kenneth Copeland. You the preacher. How you sit up here learning from him? And even if you ain't a Gentile, for the most part, they're going to be getting a Gentile doctrine tomorrow. That come from the Gentile. You see what I'm saying? But we're supposed to be preaching the true gospel. But God had a problem with that. He said, but you have set keepers of my charge and my sanctuary for yourselves. Thus said what?
Thus saith the Lord God,
Uh-huh.
no stranger, uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary.
Uh-huh.
Of any stranger that is among the children of Israel.
Right, so you're going to have to get your mind right to deal with God. And you're going to have to get circumcised physically to come into the Lord's sanctuary. And that's what it say? He say, thus saith the Lord God, no stranger uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh. So he letting you know when he get back, circumcision still going to have to take place. Now people say you got to be circumcised. No, you're going to have to be circumcised into the Lord's sanctuary. He say that, right? Mm-hmm. Shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the children of Israel. What he say about Levi, verse 10?
And the Levites that are gone away far from me, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their iniquity.
Keep reading.
Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary.
Notice what he say. Yeah, they're going to bear their iniquities, right? But they coming back though. When the Lord get back, he said what? They going to be ministers in my sanctuary. See, Levi was an example of how the Israelites as a whole was going to be for the world. Like for instance, you look at Israel today, we scattered, right? We ain't got no land right now. But who got the word? We do. Levi ain't have no land either, did he? But who had the word? Levi did. You see what I'm saying? And Levi was supposed to be preaching the gospel, doing their job. They fell off just like we falling off. But now that we waking up, we not going to give it off to anybody else. Just like when Levi get back, they going to perform the service of the ministry in the Lord's sanctuary. That's why I say, yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having what?
Having charge at the gates of the house.
And
ministering to the house.
That's right, keep reading.
They shall slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people. And they shall stand before them to minister unto them.
Keep reading.
Because they ministered unto them before their idols.
See, they going to do it right when the Lord get back. But he telling you what they did before. Because they ministered unto them before their idols and what?
And caused the house of Israel to fall into iniquity.
Right, see, they got us cut off last time. They should have been preaching the right things to us, and they didn't, and they caused us to fall into sin. What else?
Therefore have I lifted up my hand against them, saith the Lord God, and they shall bear their iniquity.
Keep reading.
And they shall not come near unto me, to do the office of the priest unto me, nor to come near to any of my holy things, and the most holy place. But they shall bear their shame, and their abominations which they have committed.
Right, so the Lord gonna let them, get their punishment first, but it ain't over with though. Like we don't got no priesthood right now, but it's coming back. But before that, he gonna let them bear their iniquity, they shame and stuff like that. But what it say in verse 14?
But I will make them keepers of the charge of the house, for all the service thereof, and for all that shall be done therein.
Right, so he gonna bring them back though. What else? Keep reading.
But the priests, the Levites, the son of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me. They shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith God, saith the Lord God.
Right, so it's Levi coming back, but you ain't gonna see nobody else doing this. It all belongs to Israel. Like I said, Levi was an example of among the 11 the tribes of Israel, an example of how we was gonna be among the world. Levi ain't supposed to give it off to nobody else. Like we ain't supposed to give it off to nobody else. So hopefully you have some understanding on that. We got a couple more online and we're gonna close out. What you got? Let's see here. It's on you, Brother Joe. Revelation 2:9, it says, are these referring to fake Jewish people or true Israelites by blood, like Paul in Acts 26:11 and other Pharisees? No. It's not referring to Paul in Acts 26. But Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, what is that talking to? Is it talking about fake Jewish people? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's read it. Just to make sure. Revelation 2:9 and 3:9. And then also, Brother Don, where you said they used Hosea to say the Gentiles in the New Testament are Israel. Well, actually, Paul gave you that reference. See, it was talking about Israel as a whole, but it also kind of, like the Bible tells you, doubles that which is. So Paul used that also to make it seem like it's referencing to explain that it's also representing the Gentiles. I think it's Romans 2, if I'm mistaken. But what you got? Revelation 2, 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold.
Right. 2 and 9.
Mm-hmm. 3 and 9. I'm sorry. I need to go to 2 9. Okay. We say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Right. This says, behold, I will make them synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Yeah, is that talking about real Jews? Who's that talking about?
Oh, this is talking about the Edomites that call themselves Jews.
Absolutely.
So I was trying to, huh?
Now I'm gonna read Revelation 2 and 9.
Okay. I was thinking about something.
What you think?
And it says, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Mm-hmm.
When he killed them off as a nation, how they gonna have? He's gonna have some Edomites, because he's gonna kill them off as a nation, but he's gonna have some that's gonna turn themselves to the Lord. They're gonna worship the real Israelites.
Yeah, because it's a long prophecy.
Right.
Like it's a long prophecy. You gonna come to that microphone, Shafiq? It's a long prophecy. How you gonna be in church asking questions online? Shafiq, somebody got your account, bro. Shafiq
I'm
Hammer.
answering a question.
I thought you was asking. Okay, my fault. Thank you, man. Okay. I thought you was asking questions. I'm like, what in the world? My fault. Okay, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, so it's like remember Jacob and Esau. He said the elder gonna serve the younger, right? But we haven't saw that play out completely yet. That's a long prophecy that's gonna happen in the end. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's definitely a good train of thought. I'm reading the other one, 9, 2 and 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Right. So he said, I know. So are these Jews that say they are Jews and are not? Are they the real ones? No, they are not. But he's talking to the real Jews in the beginning, where it says, I know thy works and tribulation, because we're going through some tribulation. Mm-hmm. And it says, and poverty. Look where we live at. He says, but thou art rich. Mm-hmm. But how are we rich? Is it rich with material? Nah, we rich with this word. Because he gave us this word. He gave us statutes, laws, and commandments. So he said, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. It says, and I know the blasphemy of them that say they are what? That say they are Jews and are not. These are the ones with the curly locks or whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. He said they are not, but they are the synagogues of Satan. Yeah, they are not the real Jews.
Right. Another place in the Old Testament, he even hit on that. Let me see here. I'll give you something else to go with that. He said it before he even got there. Not called by that name. Let's see here. I think it's Ezekiel. Yeah, Isaiah 63 and 19. Oh, I did put it. Isaiah 63 verse 19. It says, I'm going to just read it right quick. It says, Isaiah 63 and 19. This is a line up with Revelation 2 and Revelation 3 and 9. 2 and 9 and 3 and 9. It says, O Lord, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways and harden our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servants' sake the tribes of thine inheritance. The people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. We did possess the land for a little while. But we sinned against God, and now we have went into captivity. He said, our adversaries have trodden down thy sanctuary talking about Jerusalem. Then it says, we are thine, talking about the Israelites. We belong to God. Thou never bear rule over them. He was never the God to the other nations. He says they were not called by thy name. They wasn't. We was. And so you get in Revelation 2 and 9, the Lord tell you what? He said, I know thou works in tribulation, but thou art rich. You know, there are some that say they are Jews and are not, but out of synagogue of Satan. So that's a good one to go with that. Let's see here. What's this other question? There's a statement over here, and then this is going to be it right here. Is referring to fake Jews that are not Jews. I know that. Okay. Yeah, so back to what Brother Jonah was speaking on, right? This Brother Don was saying how they use Hosea to say the Gentiles in the New Testament are Israel, right? The Gentiles in the New Testament are Israel. All right, because I'm going to show you why. If you go to... No, he's saying that. Go to Hosea chapter 8. I'm going to show you something. Because, like I said, it's double to that which is. He will be talking to Israel, but when you come into this is why you need the New Testament. When you get to the New Testament, you're going to see that, hey, he covering all grounds. With a statement that he going to make about Israel being his people. In Hosea chapter 8. And is it verse? Let's see here. Where is it at? Yes, it's 8. I ain't stupid. Yeah, Hosea chapter 2. And let's start at verse 21. Then we're going to go to Romans chapter 9. That's going to be it. But just to show you how, like, when Paul came, he going to show you, he going to tie this to the Gentiles. But he covering everybody. That's what it's doing. The Old Testament is covering Israel. The New Testament is covering the Gentile. Watch. Hosea chapter 2. Pick it up at verse 21, brother.
And it shall come to pass in that day, I will hear, saith the Lord. I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. And the earth shall hear the corn, and the wine, and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel.
Keep reading. That's just talking about another name for Jezreel is Israel. Go ahead.
And I will sow her into me in the earth. And I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy.
Right. So he said, I'm going to sow her. I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. Because we don't got no mercy right now. Right? Don't nobody consider us for being anything. But it ain't going to be like that forever, though. What he say?
And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people. And they should say, thou art my God.
Right, but right here he's making reference back to Israel, right? He says it's gonna come to pass. Matter of fact, verse 20, he said, 19 said, I will betroth thee unto me forever. I mean, he gonna marry Israel. Verse 14, he say, therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her. Talking about the Israelites. Because he's going to take us back to the wilderness and marry us all over again like he did with our forefathers the last time he took them to the wilderness. So he's talking about Israel right here, right? That's why when you get down to verse 23, he say, I will sow her unto me in the earth. Like we ain't never, once we get back in position, we ain't never falling out. He's going to sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. Don't nobody have any sympathy for us. And he said, I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God, right? But he's talking about Israel. This is what he's going to do to us in the future, right? Now going to Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. And start at verse 21. 9 and verse 21. Go ahead.
Have not the potter power over the clay, or the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor?
Right. So God can do what he want to do. In other words, he said he can what? He said, have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. That's what he did with, he did that with Egypt. People, you read back up into this a little bit, they were asking, why would the Lord make harden Pharaoh's heart and then punish Pharaoh for doing what it is God wanted him to do? And then Paul turn around and say, have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel? Talking about he made one person to honor and another unto dishonor. So he raised up Pharaoh for that very reason. I'm gonna bring you down to show the world my glory. But he was made for that, and some people made for honor. What is that, verse 22? Read that.
What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering in the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction?
Right, that's what he's doing right now too. He enduring right now. Pay attention. He said, what if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, which he gonna do when he come back, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. He just waited on it. He let Egypt. They ruled over us 400 years, and he just waited, didn't he? He waited. And boom, when he brought them down, everybody's still talking about that nowadays. Like I told y'all, my mother went over to Egypt a few years ago, and the flight attendant, which was an Israelite, asked my mother, what y'all coming over here for? She said, we just wanted to come see. The lady told my mother, when I get off the plane, I go right into my room. And I stay in my room. My mother asked her why. She said because they still mad at us because of what Moses did to Pharaoh. This was a couple years ago.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So he said what? But God, what? He allowed him to come all the way up, and the Lord brought him down. Man, it's still being talked about today. The Egyptians still mad about it. As a matter of fact, that's why you can't go over there and think they like you. Okay? You ain't going to come back. They trying to take my daddy's passport. Yeah, man. But he said what? That he said, what if God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering, the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? And what? Verse 23.
And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy.
That's right. And that's what's eventually going to happen. He's going to make known the riches of his glory, on the vessels of mercy, which he showed way back then. He had mercy on us. He showed the riches of his mercy way back when he delivered us out of Egypt. He's going to do it again. He's going to show the mercy that he has for his people, right? He said what? Which he had afore prepared unto glory. But is it just for us, though? What he said, verse 24?
Even us, whom he hath called.
He said, now this Paul talking. He said, even us, whom he hath called, what?
Not of the Jews only.
Not of the Jews only, though. Keep reading.
But also the Gentiles.
Right, see, everybody can afford to get this mercy coming from God. But it started with the Gentile, the Jew first, though. Just keep that in mind. He said, even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. What did he say?
As he said also in Hosea.
Oh, wait. Now, what he just did, he just took you back to the Old Testament, right? See, Hosea just got translated, and it comes out being O-C, or O-S-E-E. But he said, as he said also in Hosea, I what?
I will call them my people, which are not my people.
Which were not my people. Keep reading.
And here, beloved.
And her beloved.
Which is not beloved.
Right, so he's talking about what? He's taking you all the way back to Hosea, right? But now he's tying it in to not, Paul is now in the New Testament tying it into what? The Jew and the Gentile. You see? So that's it for Bible study today. I hope y'all were able to get some edification. We're going to go and close out. Will you let them know from go and pray and close out, man?
That's all right.
Praise the Lord.
A lot of meat today, a lot of meat.
I've been having it cutting off mics. I'm used to the battery,
Oh, okay, I
Most
got it.
folks got the cordless mics.
Huh?
I'm used to the cordless mic.
Yeah. That's a good idea too, man. That's what we need to get. So we don't gotta worry about the cords. You ready? Our Father, which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy will be done in earth
thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from
For
evil.
thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good,
For he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of
For
Israel,
he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of
The
Israel,
Holy One of
the
Israel,
King of
the
kings,
King of kings,
the Lord of
and
lords,
Lord of
the
lords,
one true
the
God,
one true God,
there is no other.
there is no other.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
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 In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Stop it. How you stop this thing, man? How y'all stop this? Hey, bro, how you stop it?
Have a good week.
I don't know how to stop it.